Excellent!
I hope...
I would say I was ready 40 minutes ago, but then you'd feel bad.
I hope to God, I really hope to God this is streaming to the right channel. Really do.
It's going to be streaming to my channel.
After all that nonsense.
I'm just waiting to see if it says that we actually went live or not.
I don't know either. We have 0 drop frames, so that's good. People in chat are saying that we might be live.
I said that. No, wait. I said something.
Somebody else said that.
I was playing Grand Theft Auto, to be honest.
God. Let's see how many times in this episode I refer to you as Kyle.
Oh, we need the Kyle counter.
I'm so used to talking to Kyle.
Somebody needs to keep track of that. The Kyle counter.
All right, guys, if you're watching us live, thank you. We think we're live.
Well, I don't know, because the page isn't loading on my screen and it's not loading on your screen.
Since we have audio and video.
See?
My router. This is another thing that's been happening recently. My Wi-Fi just no Wi-Fi.
Until when?
Until who knows. Oh. This is fantastic.
So this is like the most blind stream I think
I've
ever been on.
We have nothing.
All right. Well,
all right.
This is my element.
Welcome everyone to Awesome Hardware. This is the live show.
Sort of.
It happens every week on Tuesday evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, theoretically on twitch.tv/awesomehardware. Normally my co-host is Kyle, but today I have a special co-host. It's Jay.
I tried to grow out a little bit of a beard to kind of be Kyle, but I can't be Kyle.
You need to like dye the hair. And,
I need to grow it long and make it curly.
Make it look all crazy.
Like a pedo stash.
We have started insanely late today. We're probably 40 minutes later than we usually begin. Which is why I'm about to start drinking this beer here at an accelerated pace. Just everything went wrong, apparently. Well, I mean, it's hard to say.
Well, look who your co-host is today.
No, Jay,
I walked in the room and everything just like started to fall apart.
I was expecting you to make everything better. All right, we have no quality options. Jay, you're looking skinny.
I'm sorry.
People are saying in chat.
But they can see us. That's all that matters.
As long as people can see us, yeah. So I have the new streaming system back here, and basically, like, what happened? So first off, the Blackmagic card just suddenly wasn't there anymore. So that led to reinstallation of all the Blackmagic drivers. And then even after Blackmagic was working again, and the Blackmagic utility would pull up the video, could get nothing to appear in XSplit.
It was just a black. It was just a black capture.
It was black, which is really weird. That's never happened. Usually, if it shows up in the Blackmagic utility, I can also get it show up in XSplit. So from there, had to resort to OBS. OBS, the old standby, is working, but OBS, since this is a refreshed new system,
it wasn't set up.
Had 0 setup going on. So any setup that we have, like the stuff over at Kyle's place or whatever, or like the little project files you could save, nope, had nothing like that to work on. So I had to rebuild the layout here. So I don't have any lower thirds for you guys. I can show you stories, so that's good. I can switch over to this.
I'm just sad that I have no internet.
I
can't play Grand Theft Auto during the stream.
And now Jay has to stop playing Grand Theft Auto. Let's do some announcements, though. Hey, the store is still open. If you guys want to buy stuff at store.paulshardware.net, you can buy glassware. You can also buy clothing. You can also buy shirts like this one. This shirt right here. This is Jay's shirt.
You can rock the thumb screw too.
Yeah, there you go. So Jay,
you know,
I bequeath to you.
Thank you.
The thumb screw.
Don't queef at me.
And
bequeath.
Yes, I bequeathed to Jay.
You know, I'll tell you how dumb I am. When you first came up with this T-shirt design, I was like, why does he have a rattle?
A rattle, like a baby
like
rattle.
A baby rattle.
It's it's good. It's great for kids too. Great for kids.
A little big for my daughters.
Yeah, but if you're into that. Yeah, the threading is reversed. I'm gonna keep rocking the reverse thread. Oh, I forgot I had put one on too. I was wearing a different shirt. I'm gonna keep rocking the reverse thread. The reverse thread means you're old school and you got in on it early. But I do have, based on last week's feedback from you guys, at great personal risk expense, have been reversing the threads on forthcoming shirts.
So you can tell the new from the old?
Yeah, so the newer ones will have the threads in the proper threading angle. In the meantime, though, you know what? So I'm probably gonna be apologizing many times during this show, but amongst other things, yeah, we're not really ready So
you're right. Your router just like completely.
Oh yeah, and the Wi-Fi is just gone. We got no Wi-Fi. I think it's because it's using all of its juices and all of its thinking power to handle the stream.
Oh, is that wireless?
This is wired.
Oh.
So that's why this is still. That's why we're still streaming right now.
Oh, okay.
But it's just the Wi-Fi. It's an Asus RTW5NU router.
So don't get that one.
Well, it's an older router. It's an 802.11n router, and it worked great for several years now. But now I think, I don't know, maybe it's gotten too clogged up and it's overheating or something like that. But yeah,
seems about right.
It's also very hot in here. Oh wait, no, maybe we do have Wi-Fi again.
It doesn't feel that hot to me in here.
It was hot. It was hotter earlier.
Oh, yeah, we're back.
It was hotter earlier. And that's the other thing I was going to show you guys, but I don't have a second camera set up. Oh yeah. Jay's here, and now we have 786 viewers.
He wanted to beat the
new
400.
record.
He wanted to beat the 400 record.
We wanted to beat the 400. So Jay, just pulling in all kinds of tail. Thanks for joining, all you sexy people who Jay
Any
brought
stream
in.
I can be a part of.
We didn't cheers. Oh. Cheers to start the stream off. Cheers to you guys.
40 minutes late, right on time.
40 minutes late, right on time.
Someone said in the chat, I think their name might have been Terry. Sorry if I got it wrong, but he said tech tubers are neither late nor on time. They show up exactly when they want to.
Yes, exactly when they mean to.
And that's when we can.
All right.
Oh, now we got 1,400 people in here. That's good.
Beautiful. Wow, it's jumping around.
Poor Kyle.
That is miraculous. So I have some Johnsons to distribute right here at the top of the show. Johnson to Jared, Johnson to Terry. For jumping right in there with some early orders. I'm going to do my best to keep monitoring orders on the store for the duration of the show. We'll be handing out Johnsons. Jay is even going to be handing out some Johnsons.
Johnson!
Yep, see, look.
Did I do it loud enough?
Yeah.
Did I do it Kyle-esque?
No, that was perfect.
I'll work on the throat parts.
That's the great thing about the Johnson is really, there's no like specific form or like tone of voice that you need to say it in. We accept a wide variety of Johnsons.
So I can't be like Johnson.
You can.
Oh,
no, that works.
Okay.
That works.
I can be like one of those, like when you donate on a stream and they have that audio that'll play. I just have to be like Johnson.
Exactly.
Just randomly. That's my job for the whole stream, is just do the Johnson.
All right. Jay's going to be distributing Johnsons.
Oh, great.
And then I do have, Kyle's not here because he just got married, so we also need to say that in the announcements. Big congrats to Kyle.
And condolences.
For being married now, as well as condolences from Jay.
I can say that. I've been married 10 years. I can say that.
You're right. I've been married, 3 years. Not quite as long.
3 is close to 10.
You're right. It's close to 10. And speaking of Kyle, pardon me, he also has shirts. I'm going to show his store real quick. And just to remind you guys, if you happen to be buying shirts from Kyle's store and my store at the same time, and you're concerned at all about shipping, if you place orders on both stores, just place them at the same time. Our shipping dude, Epic John, will put those all together for you, and then you'll get about a $5 refund. It's like you'll get $2.50 back from each of us.
That's cool. Yeah, especially since they're coming from the same place, might as well.
Yeah, and you'll get them in the same box. So a little bit of shipping savings that you can get
1,500.
there.
Let's see if we can get 2,000 in here tonight. Everybody tweet out the stream.
I didn't tweet the stream.
I did.
And I
made that little video an hour ago.
And Jay made an announcement video. Meanwhile, I was struggling just to have video. Like any video. I was literally on the verge of grabbing this webcam right here and like stringing it up there and just webcamming it.
That would have been terrible, because that's how we do it, and that's just so poor people.
You do what you do with webcam?
Yeah. Well, because we're both remote.
Oh yeah, and because you got the smaller windows and everything.
Yeah.
But that works. Okay. Originally, I was trying to set up. I have a GH4 now, and I was trying to do it with the GH4.
You see what happens? You see what happened when you tried to use the GH4? You broke everything.
Well, I thought it was the GH4 causing the problem, and then everything else wasn't working. And so anyway, ow! I just got shocked.
I don't want to move now.
I'm gonna move this to the outside of my. This happened to Kyle and I too.
Why didn't you?
I don't know.
Why didn't you warn me that you have electroshock therapy?
Because they're special. They're special lav mics. Did I just twitch? I must have switched pretty bad there.
If you watched the playback, when you jumped up, I legitimately had a concerned look on my face because I didn't know what was going on. We also lost the chat. The chat is gone. Oh man. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch anything. I'm glad I didn't put this in my shirt or anything. So every time oh crap! Hey, I muted this. Why is it? There. Okay. You know, that would be a great feature. Think about how many shirts you would sell if every time someone bought a shirt, it shocked you.
You're right.
That would be... I would probably just sit there and order shirts all night long.
You probably would. I will keep that in mind for future reference as a possible way of...
But not shock Mike.
The shock mic therapy?
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
They're like warm and stout.
It's not too warm. That's the other thing. When we first came out here, the beer was nice and chilly.
It was like sweating.
The glass was frosty.
The glass was frozen.
Oh gosh. Yeah. All right. We're just like taking our sweet time here to get into it.
That's okay.
All right. So what are we going to start off with? I do have some segments lined up for you guys today. We're going to start off with a brand new segment, JayzTwoCents.
Oh God.
Right?
Since is this about my opinion?
In honor of Jay, yes. In honor of Jay, I have my segment JayzTwoCents. I don't have a lower third for it, I'm sorry. So Jay and Jerry have a live show. If you guys aren't already aware, a lot of you probably are because I think a lot of you are here because of Jay. It's on Thursdays. Usually on Thursdays. It's called Tech Talk, and he and Jerry, a.k.a.
The problem with Tech Talk is it's such like a sporadic thing. I mean, Jerry's like a squirrel. I'm overwhelmed with work and family and stuff, and so like tomorrow we probably have to do a pre-recorded instead of a live because I have to pick up the wife in LAX. Same time we'd be streaming, but yeah, we usually do it every Thursday about 5 p.m. and it's fun. We don't structure ourselves like these two do. That's not the way we do.
It's worked for us so far.
It's
only been today.
Our podcast is more akin to having a conversation with someone in the stall next to you in the bathroom. That's kind of like what our podcast is like.
But see, that there's a lot of appeal in that. Because, you know, there's nothing I like to do better than strike up a conversation with the person in the stall next to me.
Battle shits. I mean, the whole thing. And everything goes.
They're taking a poop nap or whatever.
Yes, everything goes in our stream.
So, if you guys have never seen Tech Talk, you should tune in for it. It's quite an experience. Jay and Jerry do that on Jay's YouTube channel, and it's streamed live.
We might start dual streaming to Twitch and YouTube.
Okay, that's a good idea. I kind of want to do that some more too.
Yeah. I mean, you could, as long as XSplit works, you can dual stream and go up to 2 different streams. But it's just, I've been really lazy, so I haven't really bothered setting it up.
Well, is it lazy or you just have too much other stuff going on?
You know, there's not really much excuse for just not simply putting in another line of like stream key and calling it a day. But I'm being honest here.
You gotta have the bandwidth for it too, I suppose.
I have the bandwidth, but not. I mean, because it's only like what 5,000 per stream that I send up, and I've got 20 up. So.
Yeah, so not too bad. Well, but anyway, I figured the premise of the JayzTwoCents segments on this show is going to be that Jay has done no preparation here. So I'm going to go over a few tech news stories. I'm going to give a quick rundown of like what the deal is, and then Jay's going to give his 2 cents on it. We're going to get Jay's raw opinion.
You might even get a quarter.
Raw, unfiltered, and uncensored. So let's start off.
I apologize ahead of time if I'm allowed to be uncensored.
Let's start off with the story here about Intel and a security vulnerability. A shout out to Steve, Steve_OMG on Twitter, a friend of ours, if you're not familiar with him. He posted this on Twitter earlier this week, and that's where I found it. Okay, so old Intel chips are vulnerable to a fresh security vulnerability. There's no good pictures here, so you guys will get to look at that picture of a Core i5. So this vulnerability affects pre-Sandy Bridge x86 Intel CPUs. That's a lot of CPUs.
Pre-Sandy Bridge.
So
we're talking about things with a North Bridge in the Intel side.
Yeah. So if you have socket 1155 or newer, then you're okay.
Right. So this is like socket LGA 775 stuff.
775 or 1156.
Okay.
Would also be included there. I always forget the code name for that. Clarkdale? Or no, it was Clarkdale.
I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah,
I was actually rocking a Mac those days. Well, I know, right? Don't judge me.
See the things. Do you see the inside information you learn when Jay comes on Awesome Hardware? All right, so it affects pre-Sandy Bridge x86 CPUs. This vulnerability allows a hacker to install software into a chip's protected system management mode space. That is the space that governs firmware security, which is kind of important.
I would ask how they access it, but I'm sure they didn't put that information
you cannot. So like this vulnerability they're talking about, you would need to have, your system would need to have been infected with something else first.
I see.
In order to expose this vulnerability. But it would be a 1-2 step.
Gotcha.
If you had the older chip. So that means that BIOS or UEFI infection is possible. And it also means that if you are infected, doing typical virus removal techniques such as reformatting wouldn't work if it finagled its way down into your BIOS or your UEFI. No, it would be a BIOS, I guess, if you have an old chip. I don't know why I put UEFI. I'm just so used to BIOS UEFI these days.
I was going to say, I didn't think they had UEFI really.
Yeah, they did. It's a bit more recent. And then AMD is actually completely unknown, at least according to this article. They don't even know if AMD chips are also affected that were made in the same time frame. So, Jay, your 2 cents. Which Skylake processor should people with old CPUs upgrade to?
Well, I would always say the 6700K if the budget allows
6700K.
I wasn't even paid to say that.
All right, so anyone with a CPU out there, if you're on a CPU and it's older than Sandy Bridge, 6700K.
But if you have Sandy Bridge too, I wouldn't leave Sandy Bridge for Ivy or Skylake or Devil's Canyon, because I still think Sandy Bridge is like a great kind of a middle ground processor given its cooling capabilities. And
I agree. That's been actually I've seen that question bouncing around a lot.
Should they upgrade from Skylake, or should they upgrade from Sandy Bridge?
Sandy Bridge, because Sandy Bridge was so popular, and there's so many people out there with 2500Ks, 2600Ks, 2700Ks.
2500K was a pretty legendary CPU. Oh, yeah. It was one of Intel's most popular selling CPUs ever.
I still have, I know I have a 2600K and a 2500K somewhere buried. Right. Over there in older systems.
And the IHS was soldered. Mm-hmm. So overclocking and temperatures were well in check.
Yes, you had a fluxless solder, I believe, as opposed to the TIM that they've started using in Ivy Bridge. And so just the overclocking was insane. Now, from what I've seen in reviews, because I haven't tested directly, if you don't have a crazy high-end GPU configuration, which actually includes up to I'll say a 980-ish, then you're not going to suffer too much on the performance side if you're still using a 2500K or 2600K,
right.
Especially if those are overclocked to, say, 4.4 to 4.7-ish. However, if you do have a higher-end GPU configuration, if you're running a two-way setup, for example, then you can get a bit more CPU limited on that side.
Right, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the motherboards for that generation are Z67. They're going to be limited to Gen 2 PCIe.
There's P67 and H67.
That's right. There was no Z. Z started with 77.
Z77. Yeah. Oh no, there was Z68.
Z68. That's right.
But that came out a few months after the P67.
Right. The PCIe Gen 2 was still the main bus there, right?
Yes, you didn't get Gen 3 until Ivy Bridge.
Right. So you might, if you're running a 2500, 2600K, and you're looking for a 2 or 3 way, SLI config on high-end graphics cards today, you might start saturating that bus lane.
You might run
for the most part, though, it'd be one of those. A lot of money spent to upgrade that system for a little bit of return. I don't think it would make sense.
Yeah. So, I guess then what would, it's always do you have the money? That's what always comes down for me. People are should I upgrade? I'm well, do you have $1,000 or $1,500 sitting around? Is your system well enough off as far as the case and the power supply and whatnot goes that you could just get a motherboard, a processor, and some memory? Because there, you can upgrade for a much smaller investment.
Because you usually only get about 2 SKU updates on a board with Intel. Usually it was every other year you would get a new chipset or a new socket that you would have to then change everything out. But even then, the DDR3 that you have then might be upgraded or might be able to reuse it. But I would recommend though that anyone that's on we're talking i7 920s or whatever is vulnerable to this leak. It would be worthwhile upgrading from that platform. So
I saw I saw a nice boost going from a 920 or 950 to a X79 platform, and that was a nice jump in and of itself. So going from that to a Skylake or X99 is still a very viable option.
Well, Coconut Monkey, he's still on a X58 i7 960, and once he got on an SSD for his main OS, it really woke the system up, and he doesn't feel the need to upgrade, especially for gaming. He doesn't feel like he's being held back. But then again, we are talking extreme for the generation. Yeah. But I think with this article, though, I'm kind of curious as to how many people they feel might be infected. How many, according to their, if they have any data, how many people are running CPUs that old still?
Yeah,
I say that old. It's really only 4 years, but we tend to be a little jaded by getting.
I'd have to check Steam Hardware Survey or something like that to get a better idea. But yeah,
I think better yet, I'm curious what those AMD numbers are.
The AMD thing seems like something they haven't even looked into at this point. So,
yeah.
But yeah,
we'll too, AMD has not changed its architecture since then either.
Well, they had what did they had?
It was Bulldozer. Bulldozer came out around
Bulldozer
that time.
was Sandy Bridge era,
right?
And yeah, they've had iterations of it, but there haven't been really fundamental changes.
And prior to that was Phenom 2. And I had like a 965 Black Edition Phenom 2, so that would have been right.
And I bet there's still a ton of Phenom 2s out there, so that would be a good question. Would be if Phenom 2s or like that generation or older might also be vulnerable,
right?
But something to keep an eye out for, you guys.
Do we know what kind of security breach is happening here? Like, what is the end result of this hacking? Do we know what they're doing?
No, it's just one of those articles. It's like they could have access to like your BIOS. Be scared, and there's not a whole lot of extra. It's an Engadget article, so depth.
Yeah.
No, Engadget does.
It's not cell phone stuff, so it's not quite as in-depth.
They didn't. This is via PC World. Hold on, maybe PC World has more information. Aha! See, I should click that instead of just posting the Engadget article.
Now we can see the other side of the CPU.
All right, so it opens doors to rootkits. It was introduced in 1997, but it's remained hidden until now.
So if it's a rootkit access, maybe then they could do similar to like that FBI style boot hack where they can hijack your system.
From what I understand, if you get the wrong kind of rootkit in there, like they can pretty much do whatever the heck they want.
Right, because there was that virus going around a few years ago that was like, we've found child pornography on your system. Pay the U.S. government $300, you won't get back your PC, and it was on a boot level.
Oh yeah.
So those that weren't very tech savvy
run into that all the time. No, what?
You should probably stop going to those sites.
Right. No,
he won't stop going to those sites. He said it. You heard it.
I didn't say that.
I said you should stop going to those sites. You're like, no.
I'm gonna drink more beer.
But anyway, yeah, I guess my 2 cents on that is, if you have the money, upgrade.
All right.
Otherwise, is there a fix? Did they mention a fix?
No fix. No.
Well, then
and that's the thing, is there's not likely to be a fix because it would
need
Intel
the fix. This story.
The fix would need, but they're Intel vulnerabilities.
Yeah, but now everyone's going to want to upgrade.
The fix would need to be issued by need to be like a BIOS level update issued by the manufacturer.
I guess the
question, I don't know if any manufacturers that
we're talking about motherboard BIOS.
Yeah, the motherboard.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're going to go back that far.
I don't know of any manufacturers that are still supporting P67 and Z68. Well, I would have to be before that. P55.
Yeah.
P55.
It would have to be whatever came after the Core 2 Duo age.
Yeah,
so between Core 2 Duo and when i5 and i7 launched.
So yeah. Core 2 Quad. Pretty much. Hey, it's a good excuse to upgrade. If you like
I said, Intel's
try to get your wife or your significant other to like let you upgrade, and they're like, no, you got some money. Be like, but we'll get a rootkit otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. They can take over their lives.
All right, next up on the JayzTwoCents segment.
Oh geez, there's more.
There's 3 articles. We need to we need to move through this. All right, so this is the portable Steam machine. It's being made by a company.
It looks awfully like a PSP.
Yeah, it's being made by a company called I don't know how to pronounce this. It's SMACH.
It's like Smach.
Is that Smach or Smach?
I don't know. Is it German? Smach? Smach?
I want to say Smach.
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 Ich habe dein Smach.
Smach is a fun word to say. Okay, it's going to cost $299. They're saying late 2016 release date. So this is Steamboy. There's the nickname, the Steamboy.
So I'm assuming this is probably running some sort of distro of Linux, sort of like an Android of some sort.
It would need to be. It's a portable SteamOS device. So it was being called Steamboy, but now they're calling it something way dumber. The Smach.
Dumber than Steamboy?
Yeah, the Smach Zero. Right?
Mom, have you seen my Smach?
I want to Smach Zero.
When did you take up painting, son?
Is it really Smack? If it's really Smack, that's a terrible spelling of Smack. They need the long A line over the over the A or something.
This is how you know developers / designers are bored and uncreative right now.
Well, I find there's that chasm between the
It's kind of potent.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
What is this?
The developers,
I know what it is, but
the engineer, like on the engineering side, the people who are designing the product, and then the marketing side, who want to they don't know that much about the product. Their job is to sell it. Like, we need to make up a name for it and like dress it up and everything like that.
So they looked around the room and conjoined some words that just randomly.
Exactly.
Oh, there's Zach, and that's why
Smith
and Smach.
The company that pisses me off the most about it is Intel. Because Intel, you have the actual names for their processors. It's like, this is Intel's 6th generation core processor.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's stupid. There's way too many syllables.
All processors have cores. That's just dumb.
Yeah, but then on the engineering side, they just come up with cool code names. Skylake. And then
Costa Rica.
Skylake. Or, something like that.
I think of Jurassic Park when I hear Costa Rica.
Off the coast of Costa Rica. I'm an island. All right, so this is the Smach. This is the Smach Zero. We're gonna keep calling it Smach. The Smach Zero has an AMD embedded G series SoC Step Eagle. I don't know what a Step Eagle is. That sounds like a
Steppy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like old shop.
So with a
Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Yeah,
I
Jaguar.
I like to pronounce it like they pronounce it in the
Jaguar.
In the commercials for the cars, they say every syllable of the
Jaguar.
Jaguar, I think is how they're pronouncing it these days.
Freaking British.
4 gigs of RAM though, 32 gigs of internal memory, and an SD card slot, USB on the go, 5-inch touchscreen with 720p resolution, configurable tactile gamepad, so very similar to the Steam controller, and then HDMI video output connection, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 4G mobile network connectivity, and there's a picture of it looking pretty. So
it does look like they took the Steam controller and just stretched it out and put a screen in the middle.
Screen in the middle, that's all you need. So I think this is interesting. I mean, I like. Okay, here's the thing for me. I don't do mobile gaming. I just don't. The only time I do mobile gaming is when I'm on a flight, and I might pull up my phone and play like Plants vs Zombies or something like that. But even then, like, it just gives me a headache after not too long. So it's just to kill a little bit of time. So like, I don't do mobile gaming, but I like this in concept because I feel like it's one of those types of accessories that you'd often associate with something like a console market. But taking that and sort of introducing it to the PC side of it, that might sort of give people who are on the outside of the PC gaming community look in and be like, oh, they have that too. Like, I could get the little portable device and be able to take it around or something like that. And I mean, I'm imagining, at least I can't imagine them producing this device here without it being able to Wi-Fi in, connect the same way that like an NVIDIA Shield does to like your gaming PC and be able to stream a game.
In-home streaming.
Yeah, like a high quality game, other than playing games directly.
I kind of wonder if an app could have been created that could have been loaded on any Android device, which would have given them better adoption rates than, say, someone having to buy another handheld. Like, because things like PSP and all that sort of stuff kind of died down a lot over the years.
They have.
So I'm wondering how.
But there's nothing to stop them doing that too.
Yeah,
they have a multi-pronged attack.
Have we still really even seen any official retail Steam boxes yet, and we're already moved on to a handheld?
No, and in fact, this is going to be on sale November 10th, 2016. But that, from this article and some of the other articles I've read, is also going to be like the launch date for the Steam box.
Okay, so I'm ready to give you my 2 cents on that.
Yes,
I kind of feel like the Steam box project has been like something Jerry or I is running. What I mean by that is we're like, hey, this is a great idea, and we start on it, and we're like, no, you know what would be even better? And then we ditch that idea and go to this idea. We're like, no, so this would be even cooler, and we ditch that one and move on to the next one.
The ADD situation.
Yeah, we never finish a project before we get to the end. That's how I kind of feel Steambox is. Like, it started off with all this momentum. Everyone was excited. Yeah, PC version of console. It's great. And then it was hyped and never came, and then just it's really kind of fizzled out in terms of excitement. So I'm not excited about that, if you want my opinion on it. But I'm curious to the chat if they're excited about something like that, or would they even want to carry another device, or would they rather have Valve have developed something that was seamless with their already 5, 6, 7-inch tablet screens and just turn a device they already have into a Steamboy? Yeah. And I think that's a very viable. Honestly, I think they should do both. I think I rocked that answer.
No, you did. I mean, I think if you were to ask Steam that question, they would say that
I'm sure they have their data that they're basing it on.
Yeah, and they've been doing a lot of development specifically around the Steam controller, for example.
See, a lot of chat saying no, not interested, no, not interested, not interested.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. And like I said, I'm not interested either. I'm not going to use this because I'm not going to do portable gaming.
Yeah.
But I know there is an audience for portable handheld devices.
I think it's going to be a much younger crowd than our audience is. Granted, I don't know what your demographics look like. I would assume they're very similar to mine, where it's a lot of I mean, that 13 to 17 is a big number, but I've got a lot of 18 to 34 audience.
I got a lot in the 70 to 85 range, I think. Old timers.
Probably old women that... Never mind.
What? Older women in Australia.
They're all cougars.
My older female demographic in Australia is very strong, I will say.
That makes sense.
Good day, ladies.
They're literally strong.
If
they
you're
would
watching...
like pick you up and throw you over their shoulder. And...
Hey, we're not going to make any assumptions about the women in Australia. I'm going to go there and find out for myself.
You're going to go there?
Yep.
But I think the older crowd would be less interested in this, and more like the teenager crowd might be interested in this.
I agree. But consider it as a gateway device. Consider somebody who's like really into, you know...
It's a gateway device.
Yeah, a gateway device, exactly. Consider somebody who's younger and maybe not, you know, maybe you're really into your Nintendo DS or something like that. Right. You've done that a lot. And then you see something like this and you're interested and you jump into it. And then this leads you into like, well, now I need a gaming PC so I can stream to it. And then that kind of builds you towards like bringing in a new audience to the gaming PC.
I think of that show, that movie Walk Hard. Where they make fun of Walk the Line.
Oh, I never saw that.
Oh, man, it's funny because he opens up the closet and they're like, part of his band's like in the closet, like smoking reefer, right? And he's like, what are you guys doing? He's like, you don't want none of this drug. You don't want this. And he's explaining all the reasons why he doesn't want it, but in the end, he's like, no, I think I kind of want it. So I imagine that's what this is like. You don't want this device.
That's exactly what the Steamboy is. All right.
So it's a gateway drug to PC Master Race, is what you're saying.
Exactly. It's a gateway drug. It's going to bring more people to the PC Master Race.
But really, it's closer to a console.
Really, it's closer to a console, and you know, jury's still out on the pad-based thing that they're doing with the Steam controller and everything.
Touch.
But I'm interested to try that out. I do use a controller for gaming sometimes, and I did order the Steam controller, so curious to check that out. All right, we have one more little story here for Jay's 2 cents segment. We're going to talk about delidding CPUs. Ooh. See, there was a few of you who were like, "Oh, good." I was hoping they would talk about that. I hope there's some people who
new
said
CPU from Intel, and of course the first thing people do is try and pop the lid off. Just like people tried to pop the lid off the 5960X and realized it was soldered and destroyed their chips. The big hole should have been a dead giveaway, but anyway.
So this is a PC Perspective article, and there are some people now who have been doing some delidding of their 6700K. Now, Intel's line on this is that they use the same TIM, the same thermal interface material, which is this next generation stuff that they used with Devil's Canyon. Devil's Canyon was the Haswell refresh, which used the same CPU cores, but they did a little bit of extra special sauce with the TIM and everything on there.
There's also some extra power delivery in there too on Devil's Canyon.
They put some caps on the bottom as well. But what people still said, even with Devil's Canyon, was that you could delid, replace the thermal interface material, and you could lower your CPU temperatures. And according to a lot of the reports online, that is true, at least when it comes to, yes, you can lower your CPU temperatures. Note that we're not necessarily saying you can overclock better.
Right.
You can lower your temperatures, and at least in this particular article, Mori is the gentleman who did this at PC Watch, which is a Japanese computer hardware site. He used the Vice technique to remove the heat spreader, which is a metal part there up on top.
And that's definitely like the most recommended method is the Vice.
The Vice.
It's less traumatic to the PCB than taking a razor blade to it.
Okay.
Especially since Skylake is a thinner PCB.
Yeah, and that is dangerous.
If you put a razor blade in there just slightly the wrong way, there's tons of traces on the underside of that heat spreader, and you cut one of those, your CPU's dead. Actually, not necessarily dead. I've seen some forum posts over overclock.net and hard forums where some folks have accidentally cut their trace and the CPU still worked, but like memory channel 2 was dead or something like that. So you don't want to kill your
just
memory.
some vital, component element. Well, I mean, it's like, if you lose a lung, you can still breathe with the other one, I guess, but you wouldn't want to.
I want to try it.
Yeah. All right, so here's the results down here, and granted there's some Japanese in there, but basically the upshot is here, they did a couple overclocks at 4 gigahertz, 4.6 gigahertz. When they did the 4 gigahertz overclock, before and after, the after with it delidded and the thermal interface material replaced, and they used the thermal interface material called liquid metal. Which,
it's funny, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the compound is.
It sounds interesting. If it's like liquid metal like the T1000, that'd be kind of cool. if it's like an actual dude who's like comes over and drips some stuff off of his finger. Yeah. But yeah, so at 4 gigahertz, it dropped the temperature by 16 degrees Celsius. At 4.6 gigahertz, it dropped it by 20 degrees. It went from an 88 degrees C peak down to 68 degrees C peak. Now, a couple sides to this, I think.
Did that article mention if did they put the heat spreader back on, or are we talking about direct die contact? Did they say? Because that matters.
Did they put the heat spreader back on?
A lot of times what they'll do on delidding is they'll pop the heat spreader off, they'll clean off all the dried off glue and junk, they'll put a new TIM, and then they'll just put the heat spreader back on, hold it in place, and then it just is held down by the cooler.
Oh, so you just do it like an old school, like processors used to be before they put heat spreaders on them.
Right. Like AMD's stuff was, definitely.
That's a good question. I don't know. This is a picture of it with the die, or with the heat spreader off.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't see...
Usually you'll replace the heat spreader. All right, but before I even start talking about that, I'll wait to find out what your question is.
Well, I mean, the question here is going to be like, is this something you should do? And does this mean that Intel did a crappy job with the thermal interface material, because by doing this you can lower the temperature so much? Now, so I'll take the side of, because I know you have a response to this, so I'll take the side of somebody who might be arguing this from, well, maybe not as knowledgeable a standpoint, which would be like, well, clearly Intel is cheaping out on the thermal interface material here. They could be giving us better thermal interface material and giving us lower temperatures on these CPUs, and then probably they would overclock way better too if they did that. Right, Jay?
I can respond from both sides of the fence.
Well, no, I did the negative side, so you do the positive.
One, I just want to address that. I don't personally feel like Intel's cheaping out on this, and the reason why I say that, one is they have a performance threshold in mind. They've got an architectural design that says this CPU will perform at least at this temperature, this level of performance or greater at a baseline, and that baseline being whatever the current way it's manufactured at. So, for instance, they're saying with this thermal interface, this heat spreader design, it is meeting or exceeding the standard at which we've set for this CPU with enough headroom. And that 88 degrees is still nearly 20 C headroom. 105 C is the max on these cores.
Yep.
The other thing is temperature right now is not usually the limiting factor on how far we can go with our overclocks at this nanometer. Because as the die gets smaller and smaller and the frequency gets higher and higher, and the voltages get higher, you start to get more crosstalk between components. You've got so much going on that tiny die microscopically, and we're talking like what, maybe a ½ an inch long, if that, maybe a ¼ inch wide. You've got so much going on in there that as the frequency goes up, the amount of crosstalk or bleed over between components start to get interfered with each other. And I definitely heard a car.
Oh yeah.
Are we going to get robbed?
Oh, that's my wife.
Okay. I still ask, are we going to get robbed?
Yeah, she might take, just basic valuables.
Basics?
She brings them to the pawn shop.
So,
dog's gonna bark for a
minute. So, unless you are hitting 105 C with more headroom on your voltage, let's say I got 4.8 gigs, and it's passing OCCT, or it's passing any of your. I'm drawing a blank right now on a lot of the benchmark utilities. What's the one we were using?
I was using W prime, and I was using
the engineering version of the one. I know we both used it.
IDA 64.
IDA 64. There we go. Jesus, what'd you give me in this?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
So unless you are,
the roofie dissolved all the way.
Oh yeah, I probably already drank it. So unless you are passing, let's say, 24 hours of stress testing at whatever voltage and frequency that you're at, unless you're at that thermal window or that thermal limit of 105 C, you have no more headroom.
Okay.
So if you're crashing prior to 105 C, delidding is not going to get you more overclocking, period. Now, some folks might say, well, it can give you more voltage, but if you are already crashing at the voltage you're getting and not hitting that thermal limit, no, you're not. You're not going to get any more voltage. You'll get a lower temperature at whatever your current max overclock is. The problem with delidding is the fact that, one, you void your warranty, which overclocking doesn't necessarily void. Two, you've destroyed the resale. You're not going to be able to resell it. Nobody buys delidded CPUs on the forums, and if they do, it's like half the price because they're just trying to get some money back for it.
Yeah.
And three, There is something that a lot of people don't even mention. You can kind of see it in that photo actually on the right-hand side there, is depending on how tough the glue is, sometimes in order to get the IHS to pop off, it concaves it because it bends it. And once that happens, that IHS is trash. And one either can't use it anymore and your CPU is trash, or you have to go with direct die contact, like MSI gives you a bracket in their M-Power, X-Power boards. Then you have to go direct die contact, which is, believe it or not recommended.
Well, I mean, why isn't it recommended? Is it the danger of damaging the CPU, or
it's because of the fact that as the IHS is actually a little bit concaved.
Okay.
So as you push the cooler down on there, it makes good contact on the die in the middle, and then the sides will compress around it. But you have no margin of error on putting a cooler on there and tightening it down. If you over tighten it just a little bit, you've destroyed the die.
Yes. And I will say, going back many years to when I used to work at Newegg in the inspections department in 2005, 2006, when AMD was still selling lots of CPUs that did not have a heat spreader on it. All you had was the die. I would get so many returns where you had, because it's basically
like a little felt pad on the corner. It was like a rubber pad.
Yeah, there's like some felt pads around the edges, so like you can't wobble it too much. And then you have this little square in the center of that, which looks very much
like that. Looks like an old AMD CPU right there without the IHS.
It looks like this, and then there'd be like 4 little felt pads on the corner. I probably actually have one in the drawer back there, but I'm clipped to a microphone, so I can't pull it.
Don't move or it'll shock you.
I don't want to get shocked again. But yeah, then you have like the tiniest little corner right here, because a CPU die is like a piece of glass.
It's small, yeah.
Yeah, and you just put a little bit too much pressure on the edge, chip off a little edge, your CPU's toast. Yep. And then I would send you the email and said, "I'm sorry, your CPU is physically damaged and we cannot replace it.
Yep.
You are screwed."
So that's
I wouldn't really say you were screwed. That was just implied.
Yeah. You had that canned message you just responded with.
Read between the lines.
But yeah, so that's why I don't feel like delidding, especially with how Devil's Canyon performed and how apparently the Skylake reports are. We haven't, you said you haven't, but I haven't gotten hands-on yet with 6700K. I see no reason to. I don't think the average guy, water cooling or not, is going to be held back by the TIM that's being used.
No, yeah, I don't
the only reason people are popping these lids off now is because they want to see, what did Intel use?
Yeah.
That's it. They're doing it for, science, but we don't need to do that. We really
so
don't.
The vast majority of people won't gain anything from it. It's really risky to actually do. And unfortunately, there's some crazy people online who will do it, and you can see what they did and like what performance gains they got. But I will say that my 6700K tops out overclocking at 4.6 gigahertz. Can't get it to go to 4.7 for the life of me.
Right.
And I am about 97.8% sure that if I delidded it and did this, sure, maybe my temperature might go down a little bit, but I'm still not going to be able to overclock it any further than it already does.
Yeah.
So
the risk just definitely outweighs the reward.
Yeah.
And this was started because of 4770K, and Intel did make a mistake there, but.
And there it made a little bit more sense, I think.
It did, because I was hitting upper 90s on water with that by only putting somewhere around 1.3 volts. And I still say that 1.35 volts on these chips, these chips and down, are where I would personally comfortably not want to go any higher.
Yeah.
But also, too, if I can just close by saying that keeping the temperature down does not mean you're keeping CPU degradation down in terms of trying to run higher voltages and higher frequencies. Because you are going to degrade that silicon over time at the higher voltages, no matter how cool you keep it. In fact, Kingpin, Kingpin even has a great article about GPU degradation even at negative 100C.
Oh, yeah.
And the amount of overheating that can still apply on the nano level internally on these GPUs, regardless of the temperature. So it's worth keeping in mind.
It's still getting hot even before it has a chance to be cooled,
right?
Even though it's got the LN2 or whatever it is cooling
and
it off.
It's on that level that the damage can occur.
All right. Well, all right. So that has been Jay's 2 cents segment. A brand new segment
I told
here.
You might get a quarter, right? I gave you the whole $1, actually.
Yeah, no, you gave us lots of good information.
I ate up a lot of the show doing that.
We're moving on to the next segment, which is the classic sword fight. Jay,
I don't have to whip it out, do I?
Jay and I will be sword fighting this week, even though I usually sword fight with Kyle. Nobody tell Kyle; he might be a little upset.
He's gonna be like, Paul, that was our thing.
Yes,
that was our thing, Paul.
I can't believe you went.
I thought we had something here.
This is gonna start doing things. All right, so Sword Fight is a segment where we bring up a couple topics that are ideally...
and we're supposed to pick opposite sides?
Controversial to some degree.
What if we agree?
Then we choose opposite sides. It doesn't matter. Like, often we will argue something that we completely disagree with. At the end,
it's like debate. I can just come up with something completely ridiculous for the sake
of arguments. The idea is for us to be as petty and insulting as we can.
I can do insulting
with
and
the
petty.
argument if possible, if we can get by with that.
Just ask my audience.
And I will say that I have two questions for Sword Fight, and the first one is, I would say, a little bit more on the serious side. It's actually a good question. This one also came from Steve. Steve is just feeding me all kinds of stuff.
Wow. Is he on payroll?
Apparently so. I should start giving him some money. So this first one's from Steve, and this one's about Cortana. Well, it's more widely about all digital assistants like Cortana. So you could include Siri in there. Okay. You can include Google Now in there. And Steve was talking to me the other day, and he's like, he read an article. I couldn't find the article, but I found a similar article with a picture. So here it is. Talking about virtual assistants. So Cortana, there's Cortana right there. And basically, here's the concept. Oh wait, I need to post the straw poll.
Shout out to Spider-Fan in the chat who says, Jay's dealt with Barnacles. He could definitely do petty.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm prepared for anything.
Love you, Jerry.
I hope.
If you're watching.
All right, so here's the basic concept, and you guys can read the question if you want. And that is that virtual assistants are going to make us, or at least make the future generation. So maybe we're old enough now that we're set in our ways in some ways, but to make future generations so reliant upon this verbal communication and interaction with digital assistants, as well as the digital assistants being able to pull any information they need from the internet, wherever it might be, and present it in front of them in a nice, easy to see, digestible sort of way, that it might actually start to degrade people's ability to go out and search for things themselves, or to be able to say...
So it's like that old argument in math class, like no calculators, because you'll become reliant on the calculator and you won't know how to do math.
Yes, exactly. It's that, but to a much higher level.
And does this go all the way down to like even just Googling level?
Yeah, even just Googling. And the article, I wish I knew the article that Steve was originally talking about, because he was saying the same thing. Yes, even the basic types of interactions that we do online right now, such as Googling or like basic understanding of HTML, or just like the layers beneath that top UI layer.
What would happen if Google disappeared tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly. And people being reliant on this, but reliant in such a way that they lose the ability to dig into the amount of information that's on the internet or on the computer, get too reliant on just that verbal interaction. Cortana, show me this, and it shows you this or whatever. And even to start to detach more so from like computer science or like those layers of programming that are beneath that top pretty UI layer. So the question I posted in chat, which you guys can feel free to answer right now, or you can wait and see if our arguments sway you, is: are interactive digital assistants like Cortana the future, or will our reliance on them actually diminish our overall intelligence? Very intelligent sounding question, right? Yeah, I spent many minutes putting that together. The answers are more snarky, but...
And Cortana, please answer this straw poll question.
So yeah, if you guys are confused, that first answer is agreeing, yes. That it's the future. The second answer is no, that it's bad. All digital assistants should be destroyed, except maybe the computer from Star Trek.
Do I get to pick a side first since I'm the guest?
Yes, you're the guest, Jay, so go ahead and pick a side here.
I feel that digital assistants like Cortana can actually progress human intelligence.
I see. Okay, so I'll take the negative side here. Would you like to go first, or?
Well, I'm going to speak from personal experience here. There's lots of things like with my car, or with how to do things around the house, or some sort of DIY that I don't know how to do. I'll go and I'll Google it, or I'll look for some sort of digital assistant on that, learn, educate myself, and retain that information, and then sometimes pass it along to someone else who may need to know how to do XYZ function or whatever. So as long as you're not looking for the technology to do your work for you, but you're using it as a tool to better your education internally, like anything you learn is education, not just school, but definitely don't use Cortana to do your schoolwork. That's bad. But I think it can progress our intelligence. I think that's why kids are smarter today, because everything they're doing is on, you know, a lot of digital age. I speak for little Jay.
See, I don't talk to kids. I don't know. Are kids smart these days?
Little Jay is probably about 18 months away from passing me up in terms of intelligence.
Oh, really?
Quite honestly.
Okay.
So I look at what...
I have to have her on the show then.
Please do. Your ratings will go through the roof. No, in all honesty, I feel that it is giving them a learning tool, not a handicap. So just based on what I've seen with little Jay, I feel that technology like this is advancing and accelerating the level at which humans are becoming intelligent.
Well, it's a very compelling argument, Jay. Let me explain why you're wrong.
I can't wait to hear this.
Cortana, as well as all other digital assistants, are going to lead to the ultimate demise of humanity. I will give you an example. This is taken directly from the historical documentary Star Trek: The Next Generation.
The new one or the...
Oh,
what, you're talking about the show?
Poor Captain Picard.
The actual documentary show?
Yes, the actual documentary show.
Got it.
Which is a historical documentary based entirely on fact. Captain Picard doesn't even have the ability to make a simple cup of tea.
That's true. Everything starts with computer.
All he's able to do is walk over to the wall and say, "Computer, tea, Earl Grey, hot." Which, granted, sounds great when you have Patrick Stewart's, you know, the English accent, and you know the verbal, you know, it's like butter, you know, when it comes out of his mouth and everything. But if he wasn't so reliant on that computer technology, I bet he could make his own cup of Earl Grey tea and even make it hot. Now, this is obviously a dystopian future where you know, chaos reigns and everything like that. And even though it is a historical documentary, I feel that there are other examples out there that I could also bring up, but I don't want this show to go too long. So really, I think what it comes down to is that people are going to, I mean, like, look at this keyboard right here, right? Give it 5 years, people aren't even going to be able to use it.
It's going to be pictures?
Yeah, there's just going to be pictures on there. There's going to be one button, which is the button that opens up the listening device, right?
So Staples, the easy button.
It's just going to be an easy button. That's what it's going to be reduced to. Society will collapse. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
However, you forgot a very important point.
Oh, what is that?
Have you ever heard the slogan, "Work smarter, not harder"? If you can have technology do the work for you.
I've never heard of that before.
So, for instance, he says, "Computer, chamomile tea." He can turn around and do something else.
It's Earl Grey.
Okay, Earl Grey, whatever. Stevia, I don't care.
Chamomile's blasphemy.
Okay, chamomile, fine. I know, chamomile stevia. I don't know. I was doing my Heisenberg.
Okay.
So, he can get the computer doing that for him as he turns around and has the computer do something else over here. It's efficient. It's not laziness and it's not unintelligent. It's efficient.
You're right. It's also probably something that I'm actually I'm gonna go to the audience on this one. I think their combined intelligence is something that. Wait, what the heck is going on? You're right. There's something on the lens.
You're right. You're right. You're actually. Well, the sun is coming through the window now.
Guys.
It's called sun flare. It's artistic.
Yeah. That is a. Look at it right there.
That's like Battlefield. Okay.
This is like a Michael Bay movie. All of a
that
sudden.
That is what one speck of dust looks like. And you ready for this? I can tell you how many elements that camera has in it by the number of sides that speck of dust is showing.
The lens isn't even really dirty.
It's one speck of dust that's showing.
I can't reach it from here, but
so there are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides to that orb right there. Therefore, there are 6 glass elements inside of your lens. Hadouken?
Yeah. See, I'm charging up the orb of energy here.
It's the orb of knowledge.
I need to grasp it. I'm gonna throw this at Jay. He's gonna be incinerated. No, it didn't.
Actually, I don't want to move that far. I'm afraid your mic might shock me.
Yeah, careful about the mic. The mic will get you before the lens flare does. Okay.
Is there a guy here named Mike?
What the heck were we talking about? We're seeing what you guys think of this.
We want to see how much smarter the audience is. Oh, that's close.
Look at that's actually really close.
Wow.
Man, this is a serious ethical.
But they're siding with you right now, though. That's okay though, because all the folks who voted number 1 will become dumber in the future because they won't have the knowledge at their fingertips. Therefore, number 2 over the length of time will devour number 1.
Yeah.
And then we'll just be back to where we started with the technology again. So it all works out.
That is true. I see. I equate this to kind of like my relationship with like the internet and like Google and being able to find information now. I have less information, I feel like, memorized and stored in my head than I did when I was younger, but I know the right ways to going about finding the information.
Yeah.
And that to me, in a lot of ways, can be more important than actually having the information like down myself, because you know the path to go and find
Plot
it.
twist. I'm actually changing my vote to yours.
Okay.
Because we are all going to be reliant at the accuracy of the information found on the internet,
That is
which
true.
we all know
will be dictated by whatever corporation pays the most money.
Exactly.
All right, so we're all screwed. All right, that's question one. All right, question two. Since Kyle isn't here, I wanted to involve him in some way.
Oh.
And Jay, I think you
should have had like Kyle phones in, so like a pre-recorded recording.
That would be funny.
Hey guys, sorry I couldn't be there.
Wow,
I'm
I
not
bet that's
getting
really
married
loud.
and stuff.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Honeymoon.
Sorry, I
sex
bet that
and
was
whatever
loud.
else. Yep.
It's Kyle's commercial.
Oh, I need the glasses. That's what I need. That's
Hold
why I'm
on.
not Kyle today. I need glasses.
All right, so this is Kyle's video on his custom water-cooled PC, which Jay, I believe you've watched this.
I think I commented. Yeah, on top comment. See.
Jay has the top comment, right there. JayzTwoCents.
And that was only because I told him not to mark on the tube because it would melt into the tube.
Very good advice. That's the type of thing
I learned
you
that.
wouldn't know.
There were two ways I learned that. One, I did it, right? And I went, oh, I should bend it here. And then I did a test, right? I licked my finger and like, oh, it wipes off. Okay, good.
Yeah.
He did it and then was like, it's not coming off. I went,
off
oh, I'll just use tape. So I put tape around it, heated it, bended it, and then couldn't get the tape off because the tape like melted to it. Yeah.
So it goes. All right, so
eyeballing is still the best way.
So yes, I agree. Now, so look at this bend that Kyle has going on right here.
It's pretty epic.
This is a bend that I feel like you would have advised me against, but I don't know. I don't know.
I know why he did it though. He felt like that corner of the case was empty.
Yeah, he wanted to bring more color into the top left.
I'm just curious as to how much it drooped once it had the weight of the fluid in it.
And I don't think he has had a chance to do that yet. He has not actually filled it with liquid.
Because he's going to get a measurable amount of weight in there.
So we're going to get some feedback from you guys right now, specifically about this one bend in Kyle's build, which basically goes from the 360 rad on top, all the way across the top, down, back this way, and then up and in.
Am I critiquing his build or is the audience?
We're both doing this. Well, no, this is a sword fight, so
I see.
we're going to argue this. All right, so
I see.
Question as to what to do about Kyle's hardline tubing situation. Now, Kyle has already posted a video on this, so he has said that he's still planning on doing it that way, although he is going to
bend it again.
He's going to redo the bends because he wants to bring.
He messed up that last bend right there.
He wants to bring it in a little bit closer.
He overheated it,
that kind of
and
thing.
then it looked like it cooled off too, and then he bent it and it rippled.
But we will go ahead and we'll make the decision for Kyle right here, and whatever is decided here, Kyle will have no choice but to go for. So the question here that you guys can answer for us in chat is, what should be done about Kyle's hardline tubing situation? Answer one would be that go for that wraparound thing. You know, he's okay to clean it up a little bit, maybe redo the bend. Second would be to do a simpler, and this is, I read some of the comments on his video, and doing a simpler, more of a down and over and back down from the top right back to the CPU block could be an option. Or I put a third option in there just for people who want to troll, which is at this point, Kyle should just opt for a bright pink air cooler.
But what if my answer is not on there?
What's your answer?
Flip the radiator around. He'll
he'll
get a lot more tubing on the left side.
And that was already brought up, and then I spoiled it for him because that was suggested for him. Somebody in the Twitter, I was in Twitter or on the video suggested, no, it was on Twitter, and then I replied and I posted a picture of Arctic Panther, and I said, here's a mock-up of what that would look like, and then he was like, oh, that would look a lot like.
I gotcha.
So he's just trying to keep things different, which, I mean, the pink already kind of does on its own, but yeah, I think he has ruled that out. So whereas your advice would be good advice.
Okay, so turning the radiator around being out of the question.
Yeah.
You know, I like that bend that he has right there. But you know, having the advanced bending experience that I have, what I personally would have done, and I would have tried this. I can't even say right now that it would have worked out, but I would have tried bending it so that it actually pointed up slightly
from here.
Right. So instead of being perfectly level while empty, I would have tried to have bent it in a manner so that once the weight was in it and it sagged, it was where it needed to be.
Okay.
That's what I would have tried to do. So that means the bend coming out of the right side of the radiator there would have been a less than 90 bend.
So he'd be up here somewhere.
So it'd be up there a little bit, and then all those other bends would have to correspond so that once it sagged, then everything lined up.
Okay. You know, he might. I mean, he's not going to have this if he shortens this length up.
Right, because didn't the window not show that back part, and that bothered him?
Yeah, that bothered him. But also, he actually has right where his finger is, right there. He potentially has a little bit of support from the top of the PCI, the little housing around the PCI bracket, and that would have held it up. Like it couldn't have fallen down too much. But if he shortens it up, he might not have all that. So
yeah.
So you're gonna say to go to stick with the long bend? Do you think?
Yeah, actually, I'm a fan of long bends, especially with rigid tubing. I like there being a lot of tubing showing. That's why I redid Skunkworks entirely to put more tubing up top.
Yeah. You got to show as much tubing as you can. That's kind of the general rule.
Exactly, especially when it's as long as that.
All right, now I'll say, just because I got to take the opposite. Ladies, am I right? I got to take the opposite side here. So I'll say, you know, I think he could get away with a shorter kind of zag going on here. I'll give you guys a visual aid. If he came down here, did a little down and a little over, you'd still have a lot of pink going on up here. And then he already mentioned this little X99 bracket, little pop-on cover here. He could take that and paint it pink, or maybe even just do the logo.
Just get some color over there.
X99 pink, and that would bring some color up there. That would simplify the look of the tubing. And it would also, I'm so amazed that he did this bend on his first try. Like he was like,
I bet he was pissed when that last bend got too hot.
Yes, it was getting late here. He's like, he was gonna need to leave. He's like, all right, I'm gonna give this one shot to do it the way he had originally planned out, and it actually worked out, which I was pretty amazed at. So yeah, that would also avoid having many retries to get it redone again. But all right, let's move on and see what you guys think and see what the results are. And
wow, you guys are not making this easy.
People like the wraparound though.
Yeah, but look at that, 108 to 95 to 93.
No one really likes the simple zag, though. So people seem to definitely agree with Kyle's initial idea, which is that, you know, more tubing. And I guess it's hard to argue with that. Although a bright pink air cooler did come in a very close second there. With
you could fill up every inch of that internal space with rigid tubing if you did enough bends. But the soft tubing, like he learned, you have no control over where it goes.
Yeah, that's just...
And it took him, what, a day to realize that's not the way he wanted it to look in the end.
Yep.
And now he's doing the work twice, which kind of stinks. But
not everyone has the foresight to just, you know, go straight for the
well, I think,
hardline tubing.
And like he said himself in his own vlogs, he imagined it harder than it really is. At the same time, realized that it just looks better for the effort in the end.
Yes. Wait, he imagined what was harder than it was?
He said in his vlogs that it wasn't as hard as he thought it was to do the rigid bending.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because it just seems daunting, right? You got to heat it up, you got to bend it, it's got to be perfect. And you realize, one, it's never going to be perfect.
That's true.
And two, no matter what, in the end, rigid tubing looks better.
I agree. All right, well, and everyone else seems to agree to go for that wraparound look, so I think that's what his plan is. So, fortunately, we don't have to spoil Kyle's plans here.
He's just going to shorten it up a little bit so you can see it when looking straight on.
So I think his biggest challenge then is going to be, because that's the problem. He's going to have to do it. He'll do it and get it in there, and then putting the liquid in there and seeing how it holds up with the weight of the liquid, I think is going to be a challenge. But I know we'll all look forward to seeing that. Yeah,
not to mention the angles at which the fittings are isn't very supportive.
Yeah. All right, it is time for, now, sponsor spot. Yay, sponsor spot. What?
It's not fair. I'm a little bit buzzed for this.
Well, you know, that's good. That's good.
It's like kind of a stout. I mean, it's 7.2%, but still.
It's not too bad.
I don't drink very often.
It's not too bad. All right, so guys, I normally have a lower thirds that says our sponsor is Gigabyte. I don't have that. Our sponsor is Gigabyte, though. Thank you, Gigabyte, for supporting our live show. And
thank you, Gigabyte.
We have behind us, which you might have already seen. I gotta try not to unplug myself.
Careful. Careful.
All right, so we got a couple Gigabyte motherboards here, and I'm going to challenge Jay to an unbox off.
I am a terrible unboxer, and I say this in all my videos. I have to unbox something.
You're terrible at unboxing?
That's why I don't film the unboxing part. I literally get lost in trying to open up these packages and end up with paper cuts. And
motherboards don't come sealed, though. That is the great benefit of that. So what we have here from Gigabyte is an X99 SLI. I'm going to be using this in an upcoming build. This is actually for my July build, which I still haven't done, but I'm still going to be doing it.
I'm also going to shamelessly plug that I did do an overview of this, so feel free to watch it on my channel too.
Check out the X99 SLI overview.
Two perspectives.
On Jay's channel. And I'll go ahead and give you that one. And then, of course, if you missed it last week, we've also got the Z170X Gaming G1, also from Gigabyte, and this is one of the new Skylake motherboards. And all right, so the rules here.
You definitely want to move that.
Yeah, you're right. I should. So
I can see bad things happening.
Here's the rule for the unboxing challenge. Is just, let's say we don't have to take anything out of this packaging, whatever. It's just to get every product and every piece of motherboard and accessory out of the box.
Okay, so it doesn't come out of the individual cell.
But yeah, we don't need to open up all the packaging because we're already, it's already gonna be plenty of time. Before we do that though, Big Johnson shoutouts. Real quick, I'm interrupting our sponsor.
Can't really see it though from that angle.
With some Johnson shoutouts to Dakota,
Johnson,
and Kyle.
Johnson.
Dakota and Kyle, Big Johnsons to both of y'all. Thank you so much for checking out the store, and I'll wait. Should it?
Wait, I got it. Ready?
What?
Yeah, the Johnson. Hello. Yeah.
you got an Arnold Johnson right there.
Buying the shirts and got the Johnsons.
All right. Yeah, they both bought a couple shirts. So thanks, Dakota and Kyle. That's awesome. We're never gonna be able to keep up with that. Yeah, that's funny. Yes. All right. All right. Are we ready for our unboxing duel?
Okay.
All right.
I feel like this is unfair.
Why?
Because I have the easy box.
No. This is there's nuances to both of them.
But I've already opened this box, so. You've already opened that one too, so.
That's true.
Okay.
All right, ready? All right, I just have to go 3, 2, 1, go! All right, I've forgotten everything. Oh no, I have an extra flap. I think I'm. Oh god.
Why do you think I said? Oh,
I don't know.
I'm taking this out anyway, just because I can.
Motherboard.
Done.
Really?
I told you it wasn't fair.
Oh yeah. You're right. You cheated.
No, I told you this wasn't fair.
J1. I almost got that out.
I should have done the I should have done the horse head computer build.
You should have. That would have been epic. It would have been much more of a challenge.
Well, I'll put it back. I only took it out of here to make it in one extra step.
You did. See, I didn't realize all of your accessories was just in one little box there. Wow. Okay. So yeah, I still had all.
The moment you put the X99 SLI in front of me, I went, "This is so not fair for you."
Well, here I do want to point out though that this one has the fanciest little accessory box. It's an actual little box for the accessories.
You should have the challenge being rebox it because I can't get this back in the plastic.
Reboxing, go.
Wait, slow down, stop. This is so not fair.
Go in there. Close.
This goes right. Hold on. Get the tape ready.
Wait, where'd my box go? See, I got the sleeve too. The sleeve makes it much more difficult. They're gonna beat me because of the sleeves.
Wait, hold on. Done!
I think we tied.
But they can see mine, they can't see yours. Oh, no, you get the flap in. You didn't get the little flap in right there.
Ah. Woo! Black
X99 SLI for the win.
Black flagged on the last lap. All right. That was our unboxing competition. Guys, let us know if you have any other ideas of silly things we can do with Gigabyte products for our sponsor spot. Yes, actually, what am I talking about?
What was that?
No, Gigabyte. They are our sponsor, and for a little while now. So what we're going to be doing in future weeks is we're going to try to feature a new cool little piece of hardware each time if possible. So There's obviously a bunch more Z170 motherboards.
They should send you a crate of G1 Gaming 980 Ti's.
That would be awesome.
Like a whole pallet.
Yeah, and we'll...
And don't give them away. Just like nail them to the wall.
Yeah, we'll just have them...
Like right
in a big pile there behind us.
Bink, bink.
Like, there's the pile of 980 Ti's. Ain't that pretty? All right, thanks, Gigabyte. Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'll hit them up for that.
Cool.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Good guys over at Gigabyte.
So goes the sponsor spot. All right, now we have the ever popular Pimp My PC.
Ooh, this is where I get to really be a dickhole.
Yes, indeed. It is time for Pimp My PC. This is a segment that's usually on Kyle's half of the show, but I stole it because Kyle's not here this week to make me do anything else. And basically, this segment is inspired by Matt Philly, and he has a YouTube channel called Swashin TV.
He's going to be at Vlogger Fair.
He's going to be at Vlogger Fair in a couple
weeks, and I'm going to be there too, so I get to meet him.
So you'll be able to hang out with Matt. He has a very great channel, guys. So check out his channel, and big thanks to him for letting Kyle steal his the concept he uses for his segment. But Pimp My PC is where people send in their pictures, and Jay and I are gonna take a look at them, and we're going to critique them primarily based on aesthetics.
You know what's funny is when we did a little bit of this in Tech Talk, but then we got lazy to keep checking the email.
Oh yeah,
for the photos that get sent. I was accused of being too nice.
Too nice?
Too nice.
Well,
because I don't want anyone to feel bad, but at the same time, I get, I don't want someone to be like, I spent so many hours on this and I'm so proud of it, and then just like shit all over it. But,
I don't know. I mean,
But if you're willing to send the picture in, you've got to be willing to take the heat too.
I feel like people generally know what they're in for, or have some expectation. And I mean, we haven't been accused of not being nice or being too nice so far. So most of the time, people say like, "Thank you for the suggestions you've given," and everything.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe we're just being dicks the whole time, and who cares? But all right,
as long as it's objective and has a
This is from pilot_682 on Twitter. He calls his rig his brown poop whoosh whoosh, which is
I see why.
which is a great name because he's got Noctua fans in there.
I blame Noctua, not him.
It's the Noctua fans' fault. This is way too big. All right, so there's a better look at it. So we got a 7800 series XFX graphics card. We have what looks to be
it's an Asus board of some
sort. It's
sort.
definitely an Asus mainstream board. That's probably a Z77. I'm guessing. That's a guess.
Yeah, Asus really loved
11.
blue during 2013.
Yeah. He put in an Imager page up on it too, so there's pictures.
Nimger.
Now he's got from what I can tell, that is
like
a
a Cooler
Hyper
Master.
212, but he's strapped
140s.
some 140 millimeter Noctua fans on there.
That's actually negative result. Like you're
It's-
hurting your pressure across that sink.
So because of the gaps on the
the air wants to take the path of least resistance, so a
you
lot
got
of
so
the
much
air is going to
space.
find that gap.
up here and over there.
You want to give the air no choice but to go through the fins.
Oh, I was right about the motherboard. It is a Asus P8Z77-V. 16 gigs of Ripjaws, 1600 megahertz memory. It's got an OCZ Vertex SSD. You got a lot of extra drive cages in there.
Put those two drives on the same level and get rid of one a cage.
Drop a drive down, get rid of that top cage. That'd be a good thing.
Is that a Fractal like R4?
No, it is a Corsair Builder CX6. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's the power supply.
Yeah.
Antec 900.
Oh, okay.
Is the case.
Sorry, Fractal.
Wait, what? No. I think he's made updates to this. I am confused.
Yeah.
Because that's a Fractal. It's got white drive bays in it. I think this went through a few different versions. All right, so yeah, here's his old case, and he transferred.
That old one looks like an Antec.
Yeah.
Looks like. Wait, which Antec did he say he had before? The P900.
Antec 900.
Yeah, that Antec 900 was a bare steel internal.
Okay.
So that's a 900 up there. That looks like an R4.
There's a side view that looks very clean.
Oh no, maybe that's an R5 because look, it's got the concave motherboard tray.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's got to be an R5.
He said he can't remove a cage or move the hard drive because the power supply's cable length for SATA power. Oh, really?
It's weird. If it could reach the bottom, you would think it could reach it twice.
Yeah, that's very strange.
I like how he answered my question before he
did.
Creepy.
And there's the SSD on the back. Cable management in the back looks pretty good. All right,
wait,
so
go back down. He mentioned the power cable, so we can see the backside. So does he have one going up to like say? Does he have an optical drive up there?
Is he saying it's too long? it's too. I think that's what he's saying about the cable length.
So you
it's
just
too
tuck
long.
it in.
Yeah, you gotta tuck it in. You bend it over to the side, tuck it in. You don't need to use all of the power supply cable length here. Other than that, though,
I crease the hell out of those.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Cable management looks pretty good though. I think it looks way better with the stock fan on it.
Yeah,
honestly,
the Noctua has contrast. It would be different if you had proper size fans on that or that 212, the Hyper 212. It is a Hyper 212, right?
As far as I can tell, yeah.
It looks like it. I just don't think he's getting the benefit of the 2140s, unless he just had those laying around and he was like,
it's a Hyper 212 Evo.
YOLO.
He said he added 4 Noctua NF A14. He bought 2 and he received 2 as a gift. All right, so yeah, I can't agree with these fans right here.
Well, if we have no theme, we have a lot of colors represented.
I don't think it looks too bad. Like these pictures look pretty clean to me.
Once you take the Noctuas,
even with the red and the blue, still looks pretty good to me.
It's the Noctuas that really give it a terrible.
The Noctuas throw it off a lot. So yeah, ditch those Noctuas. Unless you're showing us some performance tests here where you're like, hey, I dropped these 2 Noctuas on and my CPU temps dropped a crap ton. I doubt that's the case, and I don't like the look of them. Other than that, though, pretty clean build.
He's definitely spent time on the layout and the cable management, which is a plus.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Pilot 682, thank you for sending in that image. It's a nice little build you got there. And I mean, I like the idea of putting the Noctuas on, but I think in practice it's just not quite as good.
Were they like it looked like they were almost Velcroed on?
I think he had some kind of strap going around the entire thing, which also would not do very good for airflow. Let me get a few more of these queued up here, guys. Just one moment. Had most of these that were submitted, I actually grabbed from early submissions that people had sent last night or this morning. Kyle usually waits until a few hours before the show, and then he sends out a tweet and gathers those. I tried to gather a bunch from people who were just early with it.
I've seen a question asked in chat a bunch to me directly. I just want to answer real quick, so they'll stop. Guys, the Kingpin review is still like at least a week away, maybe even 2, because I'm going to Seattle. So this is all because you guys did the whole Show Me the Copper campaign. You know that, right? I have been getting that nonstop since then. Video comments, show us the copper. Well, hashtag show me the copper.
People want to see the copper, Jay. Can you blame them?
Give me a couple weeks, please. It's not ready.
A couple weeks with Kingpin review. I'm looking forward to that too. All right. Next up is from Siddharth Pity or Sid Pity. His rig includes a 4690K at 4.5 gigahertz, a Strix 970, a Corsair CS 550M. And I chose this one because he did a little bit of work on the cable. Wait, hold on, I gotta shrink the window. He did a little work on the cable for the power supply, which you can't see in this picture as much, but there's a little closer up shot of the socket. He actually taped over the...
And I'm guilty of doing that before in the past.
Yeah, and I've done that before too. Not with the 24 pin, but I've taped up like cables down at the bottom coming in.
I've taped up like front panel connectors.
Yeah, front panel stuff. And I found one thing is like if you put black tape around it, the heat from the computer will eventually start to peel up.
And then it just turns into a goopy mess.
Yeah, so I've actually done that and then put a zip tie around it to hold it on. So I can definitely appreciate the attention to detail that went into taping up that cable. I will say, having done what I did recently with some why can't I remember
spray paint?
The spray paint, yeah, but not the spray paint. The plasticky stuff.
Oh, plastic dip.
The plastic dip, yeah. The one I did with the plastic dip wasn't a huge amount of effort.
Did it stick?
It stuck on pretty good. I mean, granted, it wasn't the cleanest.
Right.
And the places where the cables go together, it kind of goops up a little bit and stuff. But I think it doesn't stand out quite as much as this.
Yeah.
It helps it to blend in a little bit more.
There's options other than wrapping electrical tape around it.
Yeah.
Because when you go to take that off, there will be a day you go to take that tape off. You're going to realize it's just got compound and sticky stuff all over.
It's going to take a lot of Goo Gone or whatever to kind of clear that off and whatnot.
I would have even maybe gone to AutoZone or an automotive store and gotten wire loom and zip-tied wire loom around it. I've done that before too. But Jay, it separates out at the end. Yeah, and the loom is split. It's called split loom. and you can make it so the split is on the backside, and it can even match the taper. And then you put a zip tie around that, and it will just look like the loom matches the cable. I've done it before. Maybe I should do a video on it.
That'd be yeah.
It's a better alternative to tape.
It'd be a good option. That's kind of why I did that spray painting of the Plasti Dip thing, was because I had done the sleeving thing before, and I was like, well, what if somebody doesn't want to spend a week and a half, you know, doing or whatever? What are some?
I'm one of those people that's like, screw the wiring. I'm not sleeving crap. I don't do the sleeving.
I had to do it. I had to get the experience in there.
Once you start, you're kind of committed.
Yeah, that's true. So apart from the tape on the 24 pin, which I think we've discussed. Other than that, the build looks pretty good overall. I mean, you got a pretty simple two-tone color scheme with some black and some blue. I feel like there's a little bit of cable management that could be done, like just a touch. I mean, it's hard to say specifically. Like this little guy around here.
You got the cable.
Like these little guys up here.
You've got some cables kind of coming off from the side and some from behind. It's like maybe lengths were an issue, but
yeah. Anytime you got those little thin cables for like a fan or something like that, those are a lot easier to kind of tuck back away or run behind the motherboard or something like that. And they also stand out to me a lot more when it's like just that little cable off by itself. That I couldn't. I think it's an NZXT. I want to say it's an H440 maybe, because it's got this panel at the bottom.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't recognize that part in the back.
Oh, back here?
No, on the right, like where the cables are coming out of. I don't recognize that.
Oh, here, this little panel. Yeah. Couldn't.
I mean, it looks like a pump mount.
Yeah.
Or a reservoir mount, but.
That's a good question. Doesn't say. Oh no, of course. No, that's a power supply. CS550M. All right, but Sid Pity, thanks for sending that in. Nice little build you got there. Next up, we have Steve, aka Murdoch Steve 75. He's got a 5930K, an X99 Pro, and a Gigabyte G1 gaming graphics card.
Two of them.
He also sent two of them. He also sent in a few pictures, which is good. If you guys are sending in pictures, sending us a few to give us a few to look at, as well as a couple, more than just one look at the system is always nice. So this is.
I kind of wish he had taken that picture with the flash too, though. That way we could see what it looks like with the native lighting he has in there.
Oh yeah,
because it looks like you obviously went for like a blue theme.
Mm-hmm. Got some blue LEDs on the fans.
X99 Deluxe.
And blue LEDs. I like the blue LEDs on the fans match the blue LEDs on the WindForce cards. That's kind of nice.
Maybe that's not an X99 Deluxe. No, it's not. That's the short one. The G, whatever they call it.
No, it is. That's an X99 Deluxe.
Is it a Deluxe?
Yeah. Same one I got. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the card hangs so far off the back, it almost looked like an MATX for a minute there.
Oh, yeah. No, it comes all the way down here. Got the nice little EVGA bridge. Mm-hmm. I will say it's a little out of place because nothing else that I see is EVGA. Well, the power supply is.
The power supply. And he can easily mod that bridge to match the build if he looks at my tutorial on how to change the LED colors.
Check out Jay's LED modding tutorial for that bridge. Although, what color is that natively?
It's white natively. Okay. It's just, white looks blue on camera.
Yeah. All right, and then apart from that, I mean, really clean. Otherwise, you got your rad up front. Wait, no, there's no rad up there. That's just intake fans.
It's really empty, actually.
Got your 240 up top. It's empty in the front, but it's clean, and the window doesn't show
expose
that,
it,
so you can't really see it. Much room for expansion, though.
The airflow must be fantastic, though.
Yeah.
If he has front fans, I can't tell.
I'm curious what these little cables are right up here. Those
look like fan cables.
Sticking out to me a little bit. Yeah, maybe some fan cables.
Well, that's going to be front panel cables at the top.
Up here?
No, to the right.
Oh, these.
Those are front panel cables.
Yeah, those don't stand out to me as much. Right here does.
Yeah,
and then these little guys.
That's clearly fan cable there.
Yeah, I feel like you could tie these up together.
Probably.
And they only stand out because it's so clean otherwise.
But based on how tight that is, it looks like they're not long enough. Which would go to Amazon, go to Performance PCs or something, and just buy yourself some fan extension cables, and you can fix that quickly.
A little extension would be nice. Here's a close up of the socket. I don't know what type of memory that is. I can't tell actually. Looks like a Vexor or something.
It says Digi-DRAM, so I'm not sure.
Digi-DRAM. All right, but I don't have a whole lot to say about this one.
Just that very front part, even though it doesn't show, it's there. Just fix that.
A little bit in the front part, and then I don't know, get some hard drives. Why don't you have any hard drives? I don't know what else to say.
Someone's gonna take you serious.
But yeah, Steve, nice build there, man. Nice and clean. I like the cleanliness. All right, next is Ted Garcia, Teddy G210. He has an A10 6700, an R9 power color, so this is an AMD build, NZXT S340, as well as 8 gigs of ADATA RAM. And there's a nice side shot with the white LEDs going.
You can't really tell by that picture. And by the way, I think you're right. I think that other case was that same case right there.
This one?
The black one that we couldn't figure out?
I
think it's an S340.
S340.
It's got the same reservoir mount and the SSD mounts.
SSD mounts at the bottom.
That case is much smaller in person than it looks like in pictures. I just want to say that. So to get a case like that looking clean is actually really an accomplishment.
There's another shot from the inside with the LEDs and some beautiful lens flare effect going on there.
Very bright LEDs.
Those are very bright LEDs. This is
warm.
also, you can also see that the color temperature of the camera probably changed here.
He might have a hue. NZXT, you know they're notorious for doing the RGB like hue lighting in some of their cases.
But look how different like the red is too. Like the red is so different here. I think this is just a white balance thing. It's probably on auto white balance. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to think NZXT put a hue lighting system in there.
It could be. But yeah, again here.
Not enough pictures.
Yeah, we need maybe 1 or 2 more pictures. So I chose this one because the build kind of like popped at me pretty quick. It's a nice. It pops. It's got a nice impression. Overall, you do have this little, I don't know what this is, this little cable or something hanging down right there. I don't know what it is. It's hanging right in front of that fan though, and that's bothering me. Apart from that though,
it's a donger.
There's not a lot that we can say as far as cable management because it's all pretty clean. Is there anything like as far as component choice inside?
I'd kind of like to see maybe a push pull on that heatsink.
Okay.
Just personally.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that white reservoir mounting plate that NZXT includes is out of place because everything else is black internally.
Yeah.
With exception, with the rest of the case, I'd kind of like to see that, spray painted black or even just like vinyl sticker or vinyl tape put over it.
Or even like, because what I was gonna say is what doesn't match to me as much as the OCZ drive here because it's got some blue in it. What if this white accent here was red? And then he did something to redden up the SSD.
It might be too much red, though.
Too much red?
Look how big that piece is and the way it reflects the light right on it.
It is a statement piece.
Yeah.
For sure.
Could even do, like, a product logo or something on there. I don't know. Even a custom vinyl sticker or something made,
It does. It stands out a lot right now, though, and there's not a lot going on with it. So
but I will say, knowing that case, it's better with that piece in than not being in. Yeah. Because it looks really weird without it.
That is true. All right, so Ted, thank you for sending in the images of your build again. And yeah, if you come back at us, give us...
Ted, just put a reservoir there with nothing hooked up to it. Yeah. Just put a reservoir there.
Just a res.
And call it, future plans or preparation.
Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen a build where it's like everything's air-cooled, but then there's just a reservoir? Like,
and then you cap it and put fluid in it.
With fluid in it, so it looks like it, and someone's like, look at this awesome water cooled build, and then like
Coconut Monkey wants so badly for me to build a loop that has a fish in it, like a real fish.
Oh yeah,
like awesome. The reservoir itself is big enough to be like an aquarium.
Okay, so my concept. Here's my concept. Right, it was actually on the same wavelength as that. So imagine your side panel window is also your reservoir. If somebody steals this, at least give me credit for it. All right. So imagine your side panel window, instead of just being a clear side panel window,
so it's actually like a reservoir.
Has some depth, like an inch and a half, right? And it's got like that much of like just a big side panel window reservoir feeding into it, and then there's also a fish in there.
That would be perfect for a case that has a hinged door.
Oh yeah.
That way you could have the soft tubing in the back or going down to whatever, so that you don't have to worry about trying to get it on and off. So if it was hinged,
you can hinge it open to access that.
And what's funny is Case Lab's cases actually would meet that like requirement. But then you've got to have somebody that can do plastic work and custom make you a reservoir.
I know. It's all right. I'll work it out.
Not if I don't beat you to it.
It's my goal.
I won't give you credit.
And now I've spoiled it and shared my idea with everyone.
No, we would have to assume that I'm not lazy, or that I'm not as lazy as I am to actually do the work to make that happen.
Hey, I think it would be.
But Lee Harrington would probably make it work.
Yeah. According, Willar7 says he's already thought of that. So I'm not the only one who's had that idea.
Yeah, but it's easy to say you already thought of it after we already said it.
That's true. All right, we need to roll through the rest of these. Even though we started late, we're getting about to be at the end of the time. All right, here's some Total Tech Addiction at DGO Tech 970.
I like the name.
Here's his submission.
That's a Corsair case.
It's a Corsair. I have this case. Where's the box?
760?
760. Yeah. 760T. The white version. Very nice build. I picked several builds, not big because I felt like there wasn't a lot to critique.
The lighting in the case is included with the case, right? Doesn't that come with white lights or no? White LED fans?
Just the fans. Okay. Just the fans, yeah. Here's another interesting thing. He
actually
gave us like a Pimp My... What?
I have one. I just haven't opened the box.
Oh, really? He gave us a Pimp My Setup E look at his whole configuration here. He's got the consoles and some nice texturing on the wall here, and I kind of like that. You know,
like
that's a good little man cave that you got going in here, or game room, whatever you want to call it. N64 up there. Yeah, that's a nice assortment. I like the shelving on the wall, and the build looks great. Again, here I don't feel like there's a whole lot critiquing wise to be said here.
You can tell he's proud.
Yeah.
Of this computer.
The lighting looks good. You got a black, white, and red color scheme, which I think is a good color scheme to have.
God, red mist much? Sheesh.
Totally copying Jay, but we'll let that one slide. Yeah, you got some LEDs in there to light things up.
Is there a picture with the door on? Because that glass door looks so nice. I'm curious as how it looks with the door.
It is. It's small, but you can still kind of see it. It tints it
a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a tint, but it's not too much.
I like the... I want to know what the colors are behind the computer. I can't tell if that's like a ultraviolet or...
I think he must have some other LEDs that sit behind
the system. Looks like he's mixing some color back there.
To light the wall.
So it's like a man cave sort of thing going on there, and I think it looks nice.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that sticks out to me, if I've got to be a naysayer of any sort, is the bright red cables on that EVGA PSU. Now, granted, he probably bought that early on before they heard the complaints of the customers saying, why are all the Supernova PSU PCIe cables red?
Yeah, I complained about that too.
Yeah, so did I. And obviously he bought that before then, but I think the red almost is a little bit too out of place just on the PCI Express cables.
But other than that, very nice.
It looks great.
All right. What do we have? How many more do we have?
82.
Oh God. All right, three left. Let's try to go through these quickly. I had some late submissions that I was like, ooh, let's put that in. Here's from OD Technology, OD_Tech. And this one I thought was interesting because we have two pictures, not the best pictures. We'd like some wider shots here. Yeah. But here's an interesting situation. Look at the cable management here on the back of the case. Looks pretty clean. I mean, not the cleanest, but compare that to the cable management inside the case.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like you
got to rework that.
Your rear panel area here
spent more time there.
Looks better than your front panel area here. And here's just an example of, man, you have some nice hardware in here going on.
He didn't make it easy on himself, though, by going with white cables, because those are going to show so much contrast against the black interior.
That's true.
So you've got to take extra time to make the white cables look neat.
Yeah, so we need some cable training going on here. We need to take these extra loops that are coming out this way, and we need to pull those back behind the motherboard and secure them behind there so you have roughly the same length of cable showing out here in front of the graphics card.
You got a bit of a glob of wires at the bottom, too, coming out of the PSU.
All these extra wires down here really need to be cleaned up. They should go directly back through one of these. There's a couple grommet holes back here. Those should all go directly to those. There should be as little of those front panel cables showing as you possibly can get away with. There's an extra, you've got a sound card here, nothing wrong with that. You have an extra cable here for the sound card, which I don't know if that's, what is that, a SPDIF? Is that a SPDIF for the optical drive maybe? I don't know.
I don't know, does anyone still use those?
Apparently some people do.
That could be AC97 / HD audio.
Oh yeah, so that could be going to front panel. Yeah, front panel audio. Just take that big old loop, and I mean, if you're in, it's still going to be out there, but take the excess and pull it back. You have lots of room behind the motherboard tray, and you really need to pull stuff back there.
I kind of feel like he spent a lot of time building it, maybe like a first-time PC builder or somewhere around there. Did his boot test and went, it works, and then didn't want to touch anything.
Yep.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, other than that, like component selection, even the gold motherboard, I feel like isn't that out of place because you got the white, black, gold, that kind of matches. But yeah, like Jay said, those white cables, they stand out so much, so they need to be trained. They need to be pulled back to look a lot better. So yeah, there's a lot of work you could do here without investing any money, just some time to clean up things in here a lot. And since you also have a case that has a big side panel window, I think you will see some benefits from that as well.
That particular case from Corsair doesn't make it easy on a new builder because it's a front to rear window.
Yeah,
like the whole thing shows.
It's big.
Cages and all.
But all right, so thanks OD Tech for sending that over. Next we got Adam underscore L19.
This is like a 440, right?
This is his first build. What?
That looks like an H440.
I believe this is an H440, yeah, because you got the big NZXT logo on the side. All right, so this is his first build ever. Bearing that in mind. All right, first glance here looks pretty clean.
Nothing stands out to me, really.
Mostly red and black. There is some like white.
That's coming off the.
So there's
that LED on the back right there under the fan. That's part of the case.
Yeah.
NZXT puts those.
And it lights up the I/O, right?
Yeah.
And that you can actually turn off. There's a button on the front. You can turn that off. So if it's distracting, just hit the button, turn it off. Not much you can do about the motherboard light, and then unless the motherboard.
MSI is notorious for having like blue and green LEDs on motherboards.
Doesn't always make the most sense, unless you get their godlike gaming, and then that has all the colors on the motherboard.
So you can go with anything you want.
But at least you get to choose. Here's the back. Again, cable management looks pretty clean.
Yep, the mess is contained to the back, which is where it belongs.
Yep,
he's using the built-in fan hub.
I like that too. Here it is with the side panel on. Not much to say, except the side panel's on now. Here again, I would have appreciated a wider shot of the main chamber with the side panel off. So Adam, there's not a whole lot we can say to you because of that, other than nice build. Good job for your first build. Yeah. I bet this was really satisfying to get that all put together and power it up for the first time. That's always exciting. It's been so long since I had my first build. It's like I can barely remember that feeling.
This is very Arctic Panther-esque.
Yes, this is from Dango.
I know why you picked it.
Dango PC or SSTS 100.
There was no yellow fluid builds in this.
That's true. Where's the Skunkworks homages?
Right now I have one yellow loop and one orange loop.
Oh.
Because my GPU loop keeps turning dark. And I'm trying to figure out why. It's been flushed and everything else, but the fluid keeps turning dark. Like there's flux or something still on the rads.
Oh.
But I have flushed it I don't know how many times, so I'm still troubleshooting that one.
That's weird.
Yeah.
You don't have like mixed metals or anything, do you?
No, the only thing I can think is the radiators I have were custom powder coated for me, or not, but plated, whatever they do when they plate them, for me. So I'm thinking that maybe there's something going on with that.
Okay. All right, so this is a 3770K with a Sabertooth, which must be a Z77 Sabertooth motherboard. 290Xs, which, yes, there are a couple. Actually, this is a beast of a build if you go back a year or two. A couple Trident X 2x8 gig sticks, 750D, Intel 520, 128 gig SSD, and 3 1TB WD black drives, as well as this beautiful looking, mostly SwiftTech based loop here.
I could be wrong. Looks to me like he might be using 1/2 inch.
It's pretty thick.
Tube.
Yeah, it looks pretty thick.
The problem with 1/2 inch, and you can kind of see it in some of his bends, is the thicker tube like that tends to flatten out more in the bends.
Like this corner right over here?
All the bends. Look at all those bends. They all have a flat spot of some sort.
All right.
It could be he might have also been using a bending aid, which tends to add flat spots because there's pressure pushed against it.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know if he's in the chat or not. I'm curious if I'm right or not, but that looks like 1/2 inch outer diameter.
It does look thicker.
Yeah,
I definitely will say. But
that's becoming a thing now. Is the thicker tube for the rigid?
I mean, if what you want is like lots of visibility of the tubing and everything, then that is kind of cool.
And it's cooled with milk, of course.
And of course, you got milk in there. I'd like to see that rad top or that reservoir topped off. I like a topped off reservoir. I think
once you've bled all the air out, you can fill that up.
Yeah,
it will still drop if air is in the system.
This is a random suggestion that popped into my head right now because this is one of the suggestions that Lee from PC Junkie Mods made to us way back in the day on his do's and don'ts for water cooling. Consider going in there and tightening your fittings. Just grab any fittings if you've had your system up and running for a little while, and just give them a little turn.
The O-rings get soft, they get wet, and because when you're putting it together, it's dry, and the O-rings are what keeps it from turning farther. So over time, as they kind of get wet and a little bit softer, then you can turn it more.
That'll tighten things down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I really feel like you could use some cable training here, because again, you got these white cables that are standing out a lot, or maybe some cable combs. To stick in there because they're just a little bit loose.
I haven't personally touched. Have you touched those Corsair braided cables before?
No.
Okay,
no,
if they're anything like the EVGA ones, they might just be too stiff to train.
Oh, really?
EVGA ones are pulled so tight, it's impossible to train them.
And
they're gonna go whatever way they want to go.
If you can't train them, then at least get them. You can still like twist tie them down and then bunch them up or whatever.
Yeah, the EVGA ones are more of like a nylon type of sleeve or PETG type sleeve.
Okay.
I think the Corsair ones though, they might be a paracord.
Oh.
If they are a paracord, then there's no training. You can't train paracord.
No.
It's too soft. It's not going to hold its shape. So you would have to use zip ties like white zip ties or something to make them go the way you want. I think Corsair might be more of a paracord.
All right. Well, I think that would be my only suggestion.
Yeah.
Would be the cable.
If that's the case, then you can buy cable combs.
Cable combs.
Just snap in and you snap the cables, and you can keep them nice and evenly gapped all the way through the radius of the bend or whatever.
That'd be a good option. But Dango PC, thank you so much for sending that in. Thank you to all of you guys who have sent in builds for Pimp My PC. And
that almost looks better than Arctic Panther.
Well, let's not.
I'm never getting invited back to the show again.
No. Hey, if there's anything that PC builders and modders do, it's they continually push each other to take things further. And that is one thing I will say, having done my own like modded full custom build and spent so many hours on it, and then looking at some of the stuff that other people do, and I'm like, God, I know how much time some of those steps take, and then the fact that they take that and they like take the case and like take the panel and put like clay on it and like carve intricate runes and do all the like weathering and bullet hole, I don't know, just like all that crazy stuff like that.
That's the true like case modding community. And those guys, man, I'm telling you right now, the amount of time that they spend on that, I don't have the patience or like the even desire to do that. And if you do happen to get up into the elite levels of that community, like some guys we know, like Lee or like Richard or Darth Beavis, Bill Owen, like they get so little time sometimes, or so little lead time. It's like watching. It's like watching overhauling, right?
Yeah.
They get like a week to do a custom hot rod.
Like, hey, we got this thing in, but like we need it for the show that's in 1 week, and you're like, seriously? Yeah. And like so, it's insane the amount of work that they are able to put in, and some of the steps they're able to come up with on short notice and everything. All right, we have some tech news. Believe it or not, we have one.
What?
Yeah. Believe it or not, I have more stuff planned.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm gonna try to run through this stuff really quickly because
you are way too structured for me.
I know. But hey, we gotta bring the information.
Hashtag Paul's structure.
All right, so let's dive right into some tech news. We're just gonna go over this, and we're not gonna have too much feedback. Jeez.
Sorry.
Ooh,
my bad. Why don't you guys normally have like a pizza or something?
You're feeding us ads. All right, so videocards.com has yet more unsubstantiated and completely rumor-based news.
Drunk 2 cents and drunk hardware. I am not drunk.
No, we're not. Not at all. This is the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 950. Ooh, supposedly been listed and pictured, right? Listed, launching soon, question mark, because we don't know. Just maybe. Video Cards likes to deal in. All right, so here is a website.
Video Cards is forever first.
Where is this? Where is this listing? Kilobytas? I don't know what that... Kilobytas? That's like kilobytes. This must be an old website.
What?
I don't know what, I don't know what language this is either. Is this Polish?
I don't know. Google Translate.
Or Russian? It's an image.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is being listed for, I believe, 239 rubles. which is roughly equivalent to 826 euros. Apparently, the euro has really fallen. It's come down a lot.
Don't make me laugh. I have to pee.
They're saying the price varies. Hey, you're really helping fill in for Kyle then.
I know. I've seen him get up how many times and run to the bathroom.
Price varies between 240 and 280 euros.
It's okay.
There's a placeholders because the 960 sells for less. They're expecting the price, at least according to this article, to be 140 to 200 euros.
That's quite the range, though, right?
Yeah.
140, 320, whatever.
All right, so here's an actual picture of a PNY one right there.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, it's a 950.
I feel like they're trying to take a card that's otherwise boring and spice it up with a crazy-looking cooler. And it looks like they took one of those like shark fans.
I'm always disappointed with the lower end cards because I'm spoiled by the high end cards, and every time I look at the low end cards, I'm like, here's where they cut their BOM cost.
Yeah.
Or like, here's where they save their money on this. Oh, it's like a plastic shroud with one 6mm heat pipe or something. I don't know. Kind of
that's the thing is they release the top tier card first, so you're jaded by the time anything else comes out.
That is true. All right, so this is supposedly using the GM206 Maxwell graphics processor, which is the same one in the 960, 768 CUDA cores, 2 gigs of memory across 128-bit interface. So it's going to replace the GTX 750 Ti, which is 750 and 750 Ti were the first actual Maxwell-based GPUs, but they were in the 700 series. So there's been some newer revisions and that kind of thing. And it's also the GM206. So this is probably going to be your bang for the buck, $150-ish, like 1080p.
You know what confuses me about NVIDIA?
What's that?
It's they love the 128-bit on the lower end cards. And when I even asked them myself, like, well, why 128-bit? Why not 256? They talk about the efficiency in the architecture of 128-bit being more than enough bandwidth. But then the top tier cards are still always 384.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like it's like, depending on which side of the mouth we're talking out of, whether or not 128 is or isn't enough. Because the argument on the lower end NVIDIA cards is always, well, AMD's got 256 or whatever it may be. Because this is obviously going to be compared to like the AMD R9 370 in the same price range, if this is true. So that's inevitably going to be an argument as always. We've got higher bandwidth over here on AMD.
Well, like the way I was actually thinking about this, I think just yesterday, because I was like, we live in a capitalist society, right? I mean, capitalism, that's kind of the rule.
Woo, capitalism.
Yay, capitalism. And I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? If it wasn't for capitalism, Intel wouldn't make more than one processor, right?
True.
Because really, the cost to develop and produce a 6700K, consider all of the lower CPUs beyond that are all just derivations with certain parts disabled or turned off.
Right.
So manufacturing cost-wise, development cost-wise, if it wasn't for this whole idea of like I have to have a set of products to meet different price points and different performance points, like there'd be no need for all that. So I feel like the same thing happens with video cards. They take a video card, they take a GPU, they're like, all right, we've engineered this based on the top-end spec, to be a 980 or to be a 980 Ti or whatever. What can we take away or disable or kind of truncate from this to make it hit this specific level of performance in order to
always goes top down.
So that's why when I look at these cards, I'm always like, well, I see what it could have been, and I also see that like you're saying, 128-bit memory interface, and I really like. I feel like it wouldn't even cost anything. Like if you have multiple chips on the card, I don't think on the GPU itself they have fewer.
Bars.
Yeah, I don't think they have fewer memory controllers though, right? They still have.
They're just disabled.
3 or 6 or 5 or however many memory controllers. They just don't have memory connected to them.
Or NVIDIA still uses like a 32-bit, right, on the memory controller.
I thought it was 64-bit.
Is it 64?
I could be wrong.
But it's however many of those are enabled gives you the total bandwidth bus.
Yeah. Anyway, so all that being said, I'm sure this will be an exciting card for some people. The thing that actually I've also been thinking about when it comes to lower end cards like this is something that Linus has brought up in some of his like Scrapyard Wars videos, which is like some people just don't even shop for these lower end things. Instead of buying a 950 or a GTX 950 when it launches, I'm going to look at a GTX 780 or something, or maybe a 780 Ti from last generation that somebody's trying to offload for cheap.
But from a manufacturing standpoint, what do, right? You build your 980 Ti. Or let's say 980, because this is obviously not a GM200. You build your 980, and then the ones that don't pass spec, you build your 970, and then those 960 is a different one. It's 204, right?
Yeah, it's a different GPU die.
Okay,
GPU.
So you build your 960s, and those don't pass spec. You're left with all these GPUs that just didn't.
I am not mentally disabled. Sorry.
So what do you do with them?
It's a little slow.
You have a free product here. That's, right? So
free? This is going to be free?
No, for NVIDIA.
Oh, okay.
Right? By the time you've binned down those GPUs all the way down to the 950 level, I've said it before, and I think I still say it today. I haven't seen this product. AMD still rules that entry-level market in terms of GPU.
They do. They have made a name for themselves as like, you know, if you want the bang for the buck or the best budget performance.
I can't say
that's where
that
they've been living.
I can't say that I would buy a 950 over like a 370 if they're the same price point.
Well, the compelling part, the thing that NVIDIA has had for me for a while has been the power draw, which they still have a pretty significant boost on. But we don't even know if this card actually exists. It's all speculation right now and rumor. So,
is it just a rebadged 750 Ti? I mean,
that's another good question. But I don't think, no, because I think the 750 was based on GM1 something. So I think it was like an early Maxwell revision or something like that.
I should rip open the wife's computer and take apart her 750 Ti and see what's on the die. We should see.
You can check it out. Yeah. Well, if and when this card does come out, I'm sure we'll talk about it some more. In the meantime, any of you guys play Star Citizen? I don't. So I'm going to talk really briefly about this article. Star Citizen gets multi-crew ships and dedicated peripherals. This is from Gamescom. Cloud Imperium has shown off a multi-crew demo. So this is the Arena Commander module, which is a new module for Star Citizen. There's a video. I'm sure it's very exciting. Oh, it's 13 minutes. Can't show you the whole video. Look at this part. Look at that part of the video. Oh, how about this one? Look at that. It's like the St. Louis Arch.
I've always heard the game's like graphics and gameplay is really, really good. I don't have the time.
I think for me, Star Citizen is being developed in such a way, in a way that we really haven't seen before because of the way it was crowdsourced and because of the amount of development money they got early on. I've been a long time proponent of like I'm okay with a game company taking a while to release a product as long as the product perfect. Is a good product when it's released.
Well, not necessarily perfect, but a product that isn't disappointment.
Yeah, it's not like all buggy on launch or whatever. So Star Citizen and the way it's being developed,
it doesn't go all Sim City on you.
Yeah. I'm okay with Star Citizen and the way it's being developed, and I think it is a game that I will play. But like Jay said, it's if you're in the like instant gratification kind of mindset of like I want this to be ready, like the sort of piece by piece way that it's being rolled out can be frustrating. So I mean, if you're not patient, then
you know what I find kind of fascinating about Star Citizen?
What's that?
One, Luke loves the game apparently.
Oh yeah.
So does Kane over at Tech Syndicate.
Yeah.
You don't hear a lot of the crowd pressuring the developers to hurry up with full retail launch. Mm-hmm. They seem to be pretty happy with what they're getting along the way.
Yep, you get little you get like little samples here and there as they release the new modules and everything.
So it makes me think that this might be a game really worth looking at once it's fully launched.
I mean,
if it's ever fully launched.
I think as far as potential goes for games that are in development right now, Star Citizen is one of the highest. Yeah. Because of the amount of fan support behind it. Like you said, the fans even being like patient with them and being like, okay.
Which in a super impatient world that we live in right now, where everyone is so quick to judge and move on or come to a conclusion on something. But then again, I guess that's easy though when a developer says, "Here's our product, it's done," kind of like Battlefield 4 or Hardline or Assassin's Creed, and the end product turns out to be shit.
Yeah.
But this, they've made it up front. We're giving you access to this as we're creating it.
They're also doing a lot of like feedback from the audience and people who are trying out the modules.
I've heard the downside too, though, is that obviously optimization suffers because of the constant state of development.
Oh yeah.
So apparently it's an extremely demanding game, or at least it seems as such, because of the non-optimization of it. Mm-hmm.
Well, apart from the game itself, if you're interested in that, there's also some Star Citizen peripherals that are already branded peripherals that they're working on. This is from SciTech.
I was going to say, it looks like a SciTech.
This is a HOTAS configuration. X65 base with die-cast metal chassis, trackballs, and analog sticks. And at least according to the WCCF Tech article that this Hexus.net article is referencing, it's not just one of those ones where they take an existing model and like put a new skin on it or something like that.
And knowing SciTech, it's for the low price of $499.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, but it's physically purposed for the specific gameplay, so designed exactly for Star Citizen, and that is the other aspect of the Star Citizen game and model is that I felt like I don't have Star Citizen. I didn't do the early access thing or anything like that. Steve has an account that he keeps saying, dude, you can play Star Citizen on my account, and I'm like, Steve, yes, I'm gonna do that, but I don't have one of these. I don't have a flight stick or anything yet, and I feel like that's another kind of peripheral that's...
Plot twist, the developers changed the entire layout of everything at launch.
They switched it all around.
So nothing works on that joystick.
All right, couple more quick stories, guys, and then we'll be all done. All right, here's a tech report article on Android. And
not another vulnerability.
Yet another vulnerability.
Oh no!
This is an Android privilege escalation vulnerability.
They must be using Sandy Bridge CPUs in there.
I know. It affects 55%.
I'm rolling away. If everyone's wondering what I'm doing, like, I don't know what it is with the floor, but sometimes the chair is just like, you're going this way now.
It's angled.
Start rolling away.
It's for drainage and everything.
Trying to come back here.
All right, so basically, the X-Force Application Security Research Team has discovered a set of vulnerabilities in Android and some popular app SDKs, or software development kits. The worst of these can let a seemingly innocuous app run arbitrary code on the device present in Android versions 4.3 and above, and that means it affects 55% of handsets worldwide. And if you know about Android market penetration, that's a lot of freaking handsets.
I thought it would have been more, though.
What?
I thought the number would have been higher than 55%.
Higher than 55%? Well, they're talking about 4.3 and above. So actually,
there have been a lot of older
devices in that aren't included.
Yeah.
So if you're using an Android device, you have updates past 4.3, but you're not using something like a Nexus device that gets all of the updates as soon as they're available.
Right.
That's the only reason I brought this story up, because it'd be like, I have a Nexus 6.
Nexus has to wait for the carrier to push it out.
Yeah, so you have to wait for the carrier to push out an update that patches this vulnerability for you. And what does it do? I don't know what it does. Who cares? It does bad things to you. All right, last story.
I'm kind of surprised.
What?
I'm kind of surprised that iPhone vulnerabilities are not higher.
Because
of the amount of iPhones in circulation. You know, you always hear that PCs are more vulnerable to viruses and stuff because of the vast majority of market share, and there's so many of them. It's a better target, whatever. But
they don't go after the iPhone or the iOS. They go after.
They don't care what hipsters have to.
No. They still go after that, but they go after the Apple. What is the Apple Cloud? The cloud storage.
iCloud.
That iCloud. That's where the vulnerabilities are.
So don't keep your home movies on iCloud. That's how they get all the celebrities. In fact, that's true though. The celebrities that were all hacked. It was right off of iCloud, wasn't it?
That's exactly right. The fappening and all. Okay.
They don't need to get your device. They know you're dumb enough just to put it up to the cloud for them to get it.
Upload all my nudies to the cloud. All right, Skylake U.
Me?
Do you?
Oh, you.
Want Skylake? Skylake me? Skylake U. All right.
M-I.
Skylake U is these are really low power Skylake processors, and PC Perspective has an article on them.
Notebooks, like netbooks.
Yeah, so these are made for. This is the ultra portable version of Skylake. So yeah, notebook computers or other embedded devices, perhaps. So these are going to be BGA socketed.
Oh my God! Everyone's giving me shit because I said iCloud was hacked. I didn't say iCloud was hacked. I said the people who put their stuff to iCloud were hacked.
Yes.
Like Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, they were social. They were social. What do you call that? Social. They were socially. They were screwed socially.
Oh.
All right. So.
Especially afterwards.
6th generation Core U processor. Look how big this image is. I'm gonna shrink it down. I was at first I was like, wow, there's actually i7s in this line.
Yeah.
The 6600U and 6500U, but they're all dual core processors.
Oh,
although
even the i7s?
Yeah, even the i7s.
Why would you call it 7 then?
I don't know.
It's like I almost feel like Intel's playing games with the naming.
Yeah, because I always thought i7 meant quad core, but apparently not.
Exactly.
It does mean 4 threads. They are hyper threaded. But yeah, you got like on the top end chips, you have, they can actually turbo single core up to 3.4 gigahertz or 3.1 gigahertz. And those have a 15 watt TDP. These go all the way down So these have 15 or 10 watt TDPs, and there's some that even can, in different versions can
so
have
7.5
watt TDPs.
They've probably been putting these things into like tablets, Intel tablets.
Yeah, tablets, really low power devices, and
which is kind of neat because normally they put their like Atom processor in those.
Yeah, and even down here, they're saying on the Celeron ones down here at the bottom that they can be fanless, which I don't think the people in chat can see because it's too small.
I like how the speeds are all like NA.
NA.
Yeah, the speed doesn't matter.
Fanless.
They're going. That's all that matters.
Yeah, who cares? It's processing. What are you doing on your tablet anyway? You're looking at some pictures. Your hacked iCloud account or whatever. Perhaps.
I actually don't have I really don't personally have a tablet. My Nexus HD, my Nexus 7 HD from Asus. No, not Nexus. Asus. Is it a Nexus? Yeah, Nexus 7 HD. It died.
Really?
It died.
That's sad.
And Asus hasn't responded to me about warranty.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to make a video.
Oh, it's an Asus. So is it like mine? Is it the memo tab? I have the Asus.
No, mine's the
MemoPad HD7.
No, this is their actual like Nexus tablet.
Oh, it's a Nexus one.
It's the second gen.
The one that Asus made.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's only about a year and a half old, but nothing won't turn on. Plug in the charger. Nothing. It's just completely dead.
All I use my tablet for now is as a monitor for when I'm recording.
Me too, and that's why I have no monitor now. So every now and then a video is like out of focus.
That actually really does suck.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I've reached out to Asus. I haven't heard back yet. So.
I'm sure they'll get back to you right after this video goes live. Jay?
I doubt it.
No, probably not.
They're like, buy another one.
All right.
Did you know the HD3 is coming out?
we are just about out of time, guys.
Oh, so everyone telling me hold volume down and power. I have tried all the soft reset stuff. Nothing responds.
You should root it. Maybe you should root it.
I can't even get it to turn on.
All right.
You're killing me.
Big Johnsons once again to Terry, Jared, Kyle,
Johnson.
Kyle, and Dakota. Thanks, you guys, for your orders during today's show.
Because I am yelling the Johnsons.
You get Johnson. You get the bonus Arnold Johnson from Jay. What is this?
I don't know. They're straw pulling the straw polls.
Paula? Why is my name Paula? Why is my name Paula in that straw poll?
I don't.
It's terrible.
I don't know. The straw polls are real in this chat.
I guess so. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad I could push you back 45 minutes.
Of course.
I am starving right now.
We're gonna have Jay come every time we're planning to have technical difficulties.
Every time you plan to have it.
We're gonna go get some dinner.
I have not eaten since like 8 this morning.
Yeah, we need to get food like ASAP. I'm going to follow my Twitter if you want to hear about possible after party tonight. I'm on the fence about it. I can't promise that I'm going to be there because I have some other stuff. So I'll tweet you guys about that. And then one last announcement. If you're watching this live the day after tomorrow, that would be Thursday. Or if you're watching the re-upload, then it's tomorrow. Either way, it's Thursday. I'm going to do a quick live stream with my August builds. So if you guys want to tune in for that.
That's right. You did that thing where you capture the screen and talk about it.
Yeah, I'll be tweeting that one out as well. And if you guys are wondering where my July build is, it's still coming. It's coming very soon.
And if you guys are wondering where my videos are, I don't freaking know either. Okay?
You know?
No.
I planned out for like the next 3 or 4 weeks. I was amazed.
Do you want to get jealous?
No.
Are you ready?
Kind of.
So the wife went out of town.
Yeah.
And she's coming back in town Thursday. And so on Friday, I went, you know what? I need to get as much work done as possible because I'll tell you what, I have not taken a vacation in I don't know how long. So it is now Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday.
I think so.
I have all of my videos shot, edited, uploaded, and scheduled for the next 14 days.
You're joking.
I'm not joking.
Wow.
Because when the wife comes back in town, I want to take some time off. I want to go to Seattle, not have to worry about nothing.
That's really nice.
Go have a good time. But then come home and have to work again.
See, I have a plan to do something akin to that, but I haven't done any of that work yet. So
you are the best laid plans of mice and men.
No, I mean,
intentions.
I have it all planned out, but it's like you're like, hey, I have this plan and I've done the work already and it's done, and I'm like, I have this plan and I still have to do all the work. You know what the difference between you
and I is though? I don't plan it. I just go, you know what? I've got time and I'm going to work, and when this video's done, I'm going to do the next one and then the next one and the next one.
Well, I have to plan, otherwise things go haywire. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching today's show. Thanks, Jay, for being here. And we'll see you all very soon. Hit the like button and subscribe to all of our channels.
Mash the like button hard.
And,
hit it hard! Now!
All right. right, I'm gonna hit, wait, stop streaming. That's where the button is. Okay, bye everyone.